Mic check. All right, y'all. Having some technical difficulties, but they're not gonna stop the show. No biggie, no biggie. But the stream is not doing what it's supposed to be doing. But like I said, it ain't gonna stop the show, y'all. So give me a minute. Let me get my bearings straight. Cause I can't get my intros in here. Mm-mm. 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 4th of July weekend incoming, y'all. So y'all have a drink to that. Hope everybody's having a good week. It's Friday. And I'll say it's Christmas in July, maybe soon coming. We are going to talk about today. First of all, again, no intro has thrown me off. So here we are. Let's reverse, kick it and rewind. What is going on, everybody? It is your boy POLK, a.k.a. a.k.a. the goddamn truth. And we are here on a Saturday night. It is Noles After Dark. But we are tonight, man, we are gonna talk about the month of July and the recruiting explosion that is expected. We're gonna talk about each player that has announced that they will be committing in July, and we are gonna talk about some of the guys that we expect also to commit in July and how we think Florida State stacks up with those players. So that's where we're going to go name by name, player by player. And I'm not going to necessarily give crystal balls, but I guess that's what you'll call it. For those players, I will just tell you how I feel, what I think, where I think Florida State, and then I'll give a confidence level with it. Interesting list, guys. Interesting list. But if you're new around here, man, hit that subscribe button. If you're a returner, you already know what to do. Pay the bills, hit the like button, share the video, let everybody know we are live on a Sunday night. It is not Saturday. I said Sunday. It is Friday. Man, I'm trying to get the weekend over already. It is Friday. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, share the video, let everybody know we are live, and we won't waste any more time. Let's get this thing started, man. Let's get a quick roll call. Let's acknowledge everybody who popped up in the chat. Maybe wait a little bit longer, get more people in here, and then we will get the tires spinning on these names, man, and how Florida State might they might show up and show out here in the month of July on the recruiting trail, man. They're in the business for some names. And we'll see how they finish out on the trail. Go ahead and get in that comment section. There we go. Let's mute that. Yeah, man. Let's not. Well, let's do this while we're waiting on now. Maybe some more traffic to roll up through here. A little bit of news happened not too long ago. I'll say within the last hour or two, man. Now you know me. I don't too much like to come on here and say I told you so, right? But I recall this light-skinned dude on YouTube about a year or so ago at the time when Florida State got this young man out of Virginia by the name of Brian Courtney. And I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know about this guy. And I don't know if he's tight end. Linebacker might be a better fit for him. And then here we are, whole year later, life has come full circle. In Florida State, well, he is listed on the roster, the official Florida State roster, as a linebacker. Brian Courtney looks like he'll be making the move to linebacker. Now, again, I don't like to say I told you so, but damn it. With that said, though, I will say this. I will give this. First of all, it's not a negative at all. I'm excited to see what he can do. But there's two things I want to say on Brian Courtney and his move to backer. One, I understand why they initially had him at tight end. Tight end recruiting was not what it is now. At the time they got Brian Courtney, there was no Jaheim Bell. Biscuit had almost ate himself off of the team. You guys remember Marcus and Douglas being damn near 290 pounds. We didn't know if Biscuit was still going to be on the team or if they were going to move him to O-line. Like I said, no Jaheim Bell, no Kyle Morlock. You had Preston Daniels getting significant snaps, Wyatt Rector getting significant snaps, and Cam McDonald, while he stuck with Florida State through all 4 years, I mean, he was an average tight end at best. It makes sense why at the time when you were just trying to infuse that room with talent, makes all the sense in the world why, they put that guy there and thought maybe they had something there. Fast forward this year, tight end room has been completely transformed. And not only has it been transformed in 1 year, you look to the future, well, with a 5-star coming in, I don't know what Brian Courtney was ever going to see the field at tight end. With another potential not 5-star, but another 10 potential tight end committing. And we'll talk about him in a minute. I don't know, man. Brian Courtney, and then you still have another freshman. Well, Brian Courtney is actually a sophomore, which I was actually surprised to see that he didn't get a red shirt. He must have played a lot on special teams. He must have played every game on special teams, is what I would think. I thought he redshirted, but he's listed as a true sophomore. That tells me he played a lot on special teams. Makes sense. Played a lot on special teams. Now they're going to move him backer. So it makes sense at the time why they had him at tight end and why they now move him to linebacker. Here's my issue, though. Why did we wait to July, essentially, to do it? I mean, I'm asking a question. Some people may or may not agree with that. Why did we wait to July for that move? When, what is the spring for? That's a perfect time to integrate them. Now that you move him in July, I don't know if he has any impact this upcoming year. With that said, they may not need him. But I mean, this is a true sophomore, right? He's already been, so this theoretically as a sophomore, this is a guy that you would think you might want to get some immediate returns on. You're telling me that, unless you're telling me he's going to redshirt, which I'm not so sure. He was already getting significant special team play. You probably want to keep him on special teams. So you're telling me he's not going to really play linebacker until this junior year, true junior year. It is what it is. I'm glad for the move. Like to see it. Again, kind of called it, but a year later, you kind of missed spring. You probably should have made the move in the spring, in my opinion. We'll see what happens with it. Just a nitpick, not like some huge damning criticism. It's just a little nitpick for me, but I want to see Brian Courtney. I'm interested to see how he looks. He's going to be one of the bigger backers, man. Brian Courtney's what, 6'3", 6'4-ish, 235-ish, somewhere around there. It's going to be interesting to see. Is he more of a pass rusher guy on the edge? Can he stand up and play? I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see Brian Courtney. But now you got Brian Courtney, you got Blake Nicholson, you got Omar Graham kind of in that second unit. That gives some slack to guys like DeMarco Ward, right? And I always forget the other guy's name that's from here in Texas. It gives some, now we're not rushing those guys. Thank God. With the addition of Brian Courtney. So there's some big news. Okay. So I want to get to the news. I thought that was very interesting. Let's get to the roll call, and then let's get to these potential Florida State commits coming up. Let's go, man. Terrell Thomas is in the building. Damian Adams, Montre, Jeff, Terrence, what's up? Tyler, Head and Black Shear, Fatal Jedi, Cool Breeze, Malik, Beast, Irv, Gotti, Florida State Love, Timmy, Hypnotic. Montre says he forgot that Courtney was even on the team until today. I like Courtney moving to backer. He has good size. Has he ever played backer? He played everything. Kane Zay in the building. Anthony's in the building. But to Fatal Jedi's answer, he played everything in high school. If you go watch high school, he was the quarterback. He was the linebacker. He was the quarterback who threw himself the ball at wide receiver. He did all of that. He did all of that in high school. Now, he's only been in college a year. So, no, he's never played backer at the collegiate level. But in high school, he did everything for that team. So, and Brian Mims is in the building. So, Brian Courtney moving to backer. Norville Central in the building. We'll see. Will's in the building. We'll see what's going on there. I, again, like it. Not mad at it. Kind of hope they would have made the move a little earlier. But here we are a year later. Do we have Thomas in the fold before spring or after? I think Thomas committed after, he definitely committed after spring. But even though, Cool Breeze, that's not till next year. Even though the tight end room's still pretty loaded this year. But you might make a good point there. At the time, Thomas is committed to Georgia. Maybe Florida State didn't maybe Florida State didn't know. If I'm not mistaken, though, Thomas was in Tallahassee for the spring game. Florida State Love says, I'm back. What's up, Polk? Been out of commission due to health. But I'm back listening. I appreciate you, man. And I'm glad you're doing better. Take care of your health. All of us. All of you out there, take care of your health. Myself included, man. Take care of your health. Do you think Jarrett versus Peck Spring can become one of FSU? We'll see. But let's get to these. Let's get to these, man. Let's get to these. So recently, also today, some more news that came out. Hold on, I'm getting a bunch of messages. Oh, okay, that's just people. Appreciate y'all if y'all sharing me on Twitter and liking the video on Twitter. We are live on Twitter and obviously on YouTube. With that said, let's keep it moving. Also, some news that came out today. Dede Holmes, not only did he announce he will be committing on July 1st, he will be, he got a crystal ball, of course, to the good guys. Let's go over Dede Holmes. He's the first name that we are going to attack here on this list of names that will be committing or announcing, announcing in July, and some names that we expect to announce in July, but they haven't specified any dates. Dede Holmes will be the first one. He's a composite 4-star. National ranking is 274. So he's a top 300 guy. Big kid. 6'6", 250. Listed as a D lineman or a DN, however they look at him. At 6'6", he's probably a guy that you can keep at DN if you want to. But but he's already 6'6", 250. It might be a kid that eventually goes from outside to inside. It's really interesting to see where they move him. He's out of the D.C. area. I like to see Florida State get back into the D.C. area. There was a time where Florida State committed the DMV very well. Virginia, D.C. specifically, not so much Maryland. But we used to be pretty heavy in that D.C. area and Virginia area. So I'd like to see us get back in there. I don't know what time he's committing. I'm pretty sure it's announced somewhere. Norville Central probably knows. Norville Central, if you know, feel free to put that in the chat for me, please. But July 1st. July 1st. And again, he's got a crystal ball. So I will give my crystal ball. Obviously, with all the crystal balls trending for Dede Holmes, and he's announcing commitment tomorrow, gotta think confidence level is going to be high up there. So I'm definitely going to have a crystal ball in myself for Dede. Now, the confidence level got to be pretty high. We're talking, I'm not going to play it safe here. I get my information from the same place you guys. So there's no inside stuff here. Looks to me like this is a 9, right? All signs indicate that Florida State gets Dede Holmes commitment tomorrow, 4-star D lineman out of the DC area. national rank 274th player in the nation. Yeah, so that's the first one, man. What do you guys think about Dede Holmes? Also, that lets you know where Moore is going. Talk about Elijah Moore. Anthony, we'll talk about Elijah Moore here in a minute. William says, thanks for the donation. William says, Norvell is fixing to run up the scoreboard. Okay. July is supposed to be that month, man. Let's see how he closes on the summer going into the fall, man. We're going to figure it out. But appreciate the $3, William. The money goes into my piggy bank. I'm assuming he's talking about the wide receiver Elijah Moore, who we will be. That's the only Moore that I'm tracking. So I'm not sure if this is another Moore. I don't know how Moore and Dede Holmes commitments matter or like correlate, but we'll see. We'll see. 60. Okay, so Irv. Appreciate that, but what time is that? I'm not doing the math, big dog. What time is 16 hours, 35 minutes, and 1 second from now? What time is that? Give me the time, man. Give me the time. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Next up on the list, man, is Ricky Knight III, a 4-star athlete. FSU is recruiting him as a DB, nationally ranked 402, 6 foot, 168, also committing tomorrow. I don't know the time, but all signs are also pointing extremely well for this one. So these are the two that we can expect tomorrow. Ricky Knight, I'm expecting this I'm expecting this also to be a Florida State commitment. Confidence level on Ricky, I won't go as high as 8, but I still feel pretty good. I'm going 7. I feel like a 7. If you look at Miami actually got a commitment from a DB today. I think he's ranked in like the thousands. So I don't know if Miami took a DB that low in correlation to Ricky and basically getting the word that, yo, I'm not coming to Coral Gables, or, maybe Miami sees something in that guy that they like. I don't know, Ax Canes. He's the resident Canes fan that actually shows up nowadays. Again, so I don't know if there's any correlation between that corner that they just took in Miami, who's like the 1,000th ranked player in the country or something like that, and Ricky Knight. But I expect with the confidence level of 7 for Ricky Knight III to be a Seminole, or at least to announce his commitment to Florida State. Obviously, a long way to go before signing day, and anything can happen. But Ricky Knight, Dede Holmes, those are the two that we can expect tomorrow. As far as when they're going to announce and where they end up going. 4 p.m. Eastern, I'm guessing, is for Dede Holmes. Anthony, what's going on, BB? What's going on, Champs 99? POLK, in his interview, Dede said he would be more comfortable if another DMV person. Oh, okay. Okay, so I didn't know that. See, there you go. I didn't know that. I don't watch their interviews, man. I've kind of spoken on the post visit interviews, and I don't take a sip, but I don't knock the press or the media for doing their job. They have a job to do, and they know people are going to be foaming at the mouth for what these kids have to say after those interviews. I don't pay attention to them because it's like, it's like catching a fat person after he leave Golden Corral. He gonna be full and be happy, so he's gonna say yeah, man, food was this and food was that. Well, you kind of see how they really go about their recruitment after the hype from the visit wears off. But I've not once heard a player or a prospect visit a school and say, man, that place sucked. Like, because you're not going to hear that, I almost feel like, what's the point of listening to the post visit interviews. It's all a bunch of, oh, I love it here. It's a family here. Like I can almost tell you what the guys are going to say before they say it. So, but that's actually good insight. If he says that he felt, if another DMV player could come to Florida State, he'd be comfortable. That's good stuff. So I can see now the correlation makes sense. Mario is in the kitchen whipping up nice recruiting class. Just stay tuned. Hey, shout out to you, Zay. I appreciate, you got to have faith. I remember saying the same things. So you got to have faith, bro. I think FSU's KJ and JoJo. Hey, slow your roll there, William. Slow the roll a little bit. We ain't at KJ. Let's talk about who we got in the month of July. We'll talk about a KJ and a JoJo a later time, especially that KJ one, right? We'll talk about him a little bit later. I've talked about KJ before, though. As long as he continues to show interest, you continue to recruit him as hard as possible. But let's just pump the brakes. We'll pump the brakes a little bit on KJ. So speaking of another DMV player, Mr. Elijah Moore, 4-star, nationally ranked 432, 6'4", 190 wide receiver. He commits on the Independence Day of our nation, the 4th of July. If you've watched Elijah Moore, if you've watched his, and again, it's huddle, right? It's highlight tapes. Highlight tapes are supposed to look good. But if you actually watch them and understand that also Ohio State is extremely high on this guy, I don't know where they see the nationally ranked 432nd player. And you guys know me. I don't pretend like these 3 stars are gems. Matter of fact, hate the term. We do this almost weekly where I tell you, all the time, like too many times are we classifying, these guys as gems and they're not really gems. But Elijah Moore might be Elijah Moore's probably one of those guys where I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna tell you, yeah, I think he's better than what the rankings are suggesting. Very, very talented wide receiver here who's committing July 4th, and FSU has made leaps and bounds. They've I don't think they've closed the gap on Ohio State. I think they've lapped Ohio State at this point. I would be shocked if we didn't hit on Moore at this point. And Florida State's going to be an interesting spot here because some of the decommits we expected didn't happen. The Abrams decommitment, not only didn't it happen, he's recently still been tweeting all this Florida State visit stuff. I think a lot of that has to do with Abrams playing some games, and it looked like Florida moved on and actually got a commitment from another speedy wide receiver, 4-star. And maybe Abrams is now looking at it as he doesn't have anywhere to go. I don't know. We'll see. So we were expecting at least one decommitment by now in that wide receiver room, and we didn't get it. And then we still got 4 wide receivers committed. With Florida taking that kid they recently got, I don't know if Abrams, unless I don't know. I don't know, unless he wants to go. Maybe Miami shows interest. I don't know. Abrams might not go anywhere. He might not go anywhere. Then the other one is also the kid that is from down south. What is his name? Is it McCoy, the other receiver? I think that's his name. So he probably still, is on flip watch there. But Florida State, man, the wide receiver room is really crazy right now. But I got Elijah Moore coming to Florida State, and I'm gonna put another confidence level at 8 right there. So I think we get a clean 2-0 on July 1st. I think we go into July 4th 3-0. And then here comes another wide receiver, James Madison III. Well, hold on. Before we go to James Madison, man, I see I had a super chat. So let's get to these. Let's get to these comments. My man Chris Robinson, Orlando, always checking in. I got you, Chris. I got you. I got to make you that custom graphic. Disney World is always checking in. So let's, you know what? Let's run that money up.
Tell ass on with the Seminoles. I've been getting to this paper, focus on my goals. Trying to run this money up and pull up in a row. All this talking gangster, that shit getting old.
FSU's trying to really, man. I don't know what we're doing at receiver. I'm not mad at it, but again, the two boards that I've said the whole time that I'm not worried about is that damn receiving board and that defensive backfield. The boards are so extensive. We're gonna get good players, even if we miss on some guys or whatever. So we'll see, man. But yeah, Florida State's in the mix for a bunch of receivers. Hurt McCoy being recruited as a DB. I don't think if he's, and that might be, see, and I think that's the thing with the flip. If we're recruiting him as a DB, I think that's why a lot of people think Miami's the play here, because I don't think he wants to play DB. And everything I see from him at these camps is him playing receiver. I think he wants to be a receiver. So we'll see there. We'll see what happens. James Madison III, y'all. 4-star, nationally ranked, 362. Another big receiver, man. 6'3", 190 wide receiver. It's down to 2 schools for this young man, and that's Mizzou and that's Florida State. On the surface, you would have to think Florida State. On the surface. However, this is one of the ones, you know, I'm going to say Mizzou here. And I think Mizzou with a confidence level of 6. I'm going to just go 6 with Mizzou. I just got a feeling that he's going to Missouri. Again, we're in the territory of that being a very crowded recruiting class there at that receiver spot. So theoretically, let's say you take Elijah Moore. Let's say you get James Madison. That's 6 wide receivers committed to this point. Camden Fryer's not going anywhere. BJ Gibson's not going anywhere. You're still going after JoJo Trader. I think Jeremiah Smith is a pipe dream. But that's another one of those KJ Bolden situations. If he keeps entertaining, Smith is acting like he doesn't really want to go to Ohio State. Like he wants to stay in the state of Florida. The question is going to be who can convince him to come, like what school in the state of Florida. It won't be Florida because they have Murder Mertz throwing the ball. So it ain't going to be Florida. I'll tell you that right now. TVD's a hit or miss. We'll see what that team looks like. Can Florida State convince a guy like that to come here and play? I think that's going to be the interesting thing. That Florida State's still big fish hunting in the receiving room with the potential to have 6 guys committed by July 4th. I'm going to go James Madison to Mizzou. I'm not so sure on this one. Again, on the surface, you would go, there's no way Missouri beats out Florida State for a commitment. But maybe he really want to go play with your boy Jake Garcia. I've seen Jake Garcia. I'm not so sure about that one. But maybe you want to go play for Jake Garcia at Mizzou. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. But I'm going to go James Madison to Mizzou. If anybody disagrees, let me know. But I'm not so confident on this one from a Florida State perspective. And even the Mizzou pick is like, it's a confidence level of like 6. But like, would it shock me if he picked Florida State? It wouldn't shock me at all. The numbers always work themselves out. And some guys will feel the pressure and go elsewhere, but maybe not. I remember 2 years ago, man, when Atkins had that offensive line of Dante Richardson and Kanile Charlton and Julian Armella and Jalen Early and who am I forgetting? Quayshawn Sapp. At that point, Antavius Woody. You know, I mean, he 6 O-linemen. A lot of people thought we'd have a guy leave there too, and no, they all stood in the paint right there and signed. I think ultimately Florida State takes 4 to 5. because I do think the numbers will work themselves out. But let's see what you guys think. Let me scroll up a little bit. Just me, Marco Hush. Honestly, though, somebody's getting pushed out. He's honestly a better DB than a receiver, which is crazy. Talking about McCoy. I don't think they're going to take no more than 1 or 2 wide receivers in 25. A lot of 25 kids have been on campus, and the only kid you hear about is French. They're definitely going to push hard for French. I'm with you there. And, yeah, I agree with that, though. You obviously take a smaller 25 receiver class. If you're going to take 4 to 5 guys this rotation, 6 being the most, you go after 1 or 2 elite guys in 25. French being, I think, the number 1 priority. I'm with you there. Momo, you're late, man. I already talked about Brian Courtney moving to linebacker. Not only are you late, you're late by like a year because I talked about Brian Courtney being a linebacker a year ago. But shout out to Brian Courtney. I like the move. BB's laughing because he knows it's true. He know Murder Merch is his quarterback, so it's going to be tough. Camden said himself in an interview that Bama is the only school that he's even entertaining. I don't know how much they're pushing for him, but Camden Fryer acknowledged that Bama is the only school that he's the only other school that he's entertained. I wouldn't say they're pushing for him, but with his dad being a Nole, and I think his dad's even like a major booster. The only Fryer is not going anywhere, bro. I don't see Fryer going anywhere. Yeah, I don't know who has a better chance. I mean, all y'all say, all the fan bases on Twitter say everybody has a better chance. I don't know who has a better chance. Matter of fact, Ohio State has the best chance because he's still committed there. So we'll see. Now, Murder Merch goes out there and throws for 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, and 15 interceptions. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. James Madison visited Louisville. You might steal him. Hey, go for it. Again, he's committing the 4th, and he only has 2 schools, but it's July. Whole lot of recruiting left to go, Marco. BJ might be giving job to the MLB, so it's understandable. Here's the thing about that, though. Unless you're telling me BJ's going straight to the major leagues, which he's probably not, do you go play in AAA, AA ball, or do you play college football? I don't know. I would probably lean towards playing college football. So that's just how I look at that. And we've seen it with guys like Russell Wilson. Those guys got drafted to the baseball too. But again, do you go play AAA ball? Do you go, you probably not. You probably go play college football. So we'll see. Our David says, I think you're going to hit like crack in the 80s. I'm going to hit like, well, so far I've got 3 guys, I think, so far through the first 4, I got us hitting on 3 out of the 4. I think Madison goes to Mizzou, but I think Moore comes to Florida State, Knight comes to Florida State, Holmes comes to Florida State. We're going to hit on the next one after I get done with these comments. We're going to talk about it, our Dave. We're talking about everybody who's committing in July. Next up on the list, man, not the last guy, sorry. Kylan Fox, 4-star, nationally ranked, 229, 6'4", 208 athlete / tight end. Tight end is what he is. I think tight end is obviously what Florida State's recruiting him as. If you saw my little video I did on him, this one was a bit of a surprise, I think, to a lot of people, including myself. Just 2 weeks ago, I thought Florida State was a lot for Fox. And then UCF has gotten all the crystal balls for Kylan Fox. So that is a bit of a shocker. We will see what happens. There's a lot of alleged things that happen with Fox. Something rubbed him wrong on his visit. That was a rumor. Can't confirm that or deny it, but it's a rumor. Him wanting to be the number one option, and obviously with Landon Thomas, you're not going to be the number one option. So something happened there. All the crystal balls point to UCF, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you any differently. I just something was weird about the Kylan Fox situation. I don't know if he ends up at UCF. This is one that I think he might commit to UCF on the 4th. But this is a guy that I think he's got better options. It's not a knock on UCF, but I'm just gonna be real with it. Probably has better options. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure he ends up there though. But he's gonna commit, and I expect the July 4th commitment of Kylan Fox to be UCF. Not that big a deal. It would have been great to pair him and Landon Thomas up. And at a 6'4", 208, he's a guy that you could probably play at receiver. But you do have the number one tight end in the country committed, and who's doubled down on his commitment since his visit this past weekend. Not too worried about missing out on a Kylan Fox. You want to call it a whiff? Sure. I have no problems calling real whiffs. And this was a guy that you were favored for at one point, and now you're missing. That's kind of my definition. It's kind of my definition of a whiff. People that you're favored for that you end up missing on. But so sure, whiff, but come on. Are you going to lose any sleep over losing a Kylan Fox? Not a knock on the kid. I think the kid's a talented kid. But if he was Florida State's number one tight end option, then maybe you'd be a little bit more concerned. When you have the number one guy in the country, Fox is a luxury, not a necessity. So I got UCF. I'm only going to do a confidence level of 6. I know you might want to say, well, everybody say something's weird about this. It would not shock me if he pulled a fast one and committed to Florida State. It wouldn't shock me. Something's off about this whole recruitment here, and how immediately after the the visit, it was UCF. But his mom's on Twitter talking about they know the truth. You know how this goes. A crystal ball comes out, then the kids come out on social media with these passive-aggressive encrypted tweets about, oh, we know what's really real and all that stuff. Okay, whatever. Something weird's going on. Something happened. I don't know. I'm going Kylan Fox to UCF, but I'm only put a confidence level of 6 on it because just something throws me off with this one. And if you told me that he pulled a fast one on July 4th, it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me. But I got Kylan Fox going to UCF with a confidence level of 6. What are y'all saying about Fox? Let's see. I heard there was some issues on the visit. Marco, get out of here. Marco, go away. What are you talking about? We slipping. Where's Louisville ranked in recruiting, and where's Florida State ranked in recruiting? Before you come talk to me about we slipping, where are we ranked at? Hypnotic says Fox is not coming. Peter Shields was good. Fox talent is too good for UCF. Thank you, Kane. Kane says, hit that like button. I think we get Madison since Cam Coleman is headed to Auburn. Well, I think we get more. I'm going to say Madison goes to Mizzou. Could be wrong, though. But again, I only put Mizzou with a confidence level of 6. So, Fatal Jedi put a 5 for Fox. Timmy says he thinks Fox is going to Georgia Tech. It wouldn't surprise me if he ended. I don't think he ends up at UCF. I don't think he ends. I'm not saying he comes to Florida State. I'm not saying whatever. I just don't. I think he may commit to UCF on the 4th. I don't think he ends up there. This fan base can't handle Mama Davis and Mama Fox. They love Mama Davis because Mama Davis don't do nothing but basically, love on Florida State. But Mama Fox is a little, What's going on, Chad? POLK, I think with Kylan Fox, I think somebody who's committing that they didn't think they was going to get mad. Fox kind of expendable and they kind of slow playing. One thing about playing tight end at FSU, you could almost, much as a starter, if Fox goes UCF, Randy Pittman getting pushed out. Yeah, Pittman was committed to us, right? And then he went over there. So That's interesting development. Dang, we lose 2 tight ends to UCF, man. They killing us. They killing us. UCF getting Kylan Fox and Walt Claire Flynn is a good haul. We have TJ. That's one guy, bro. I know you do have TJ Capers. That's one guy. I'm not so sure Capers ends up in Louisville either, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. The last official announcement in July. Charles Lester III, 5-star corner, national, top 20 player, 6'1", 171. He doesn't commit to the end of July. July 28th, Charles Lester III. My thoughts on Charles Lester hasn't changed since months ago. This is an FSU lock. If it's not, there needs to be major staff changes. Lester was yours to lose. Lester is the worst kept secret in college football, in my opinion. I ain't worried about no Colorado. I know people see the man go to Colorado and they go, "Oh my God." I ain't worried about it. This might be the only person that I give a confidence level of like 9 or 10. I have no worry on Lester. The brother just today, he's tweeting more pictures of himself. Either he's doing the most immaculate troll job ever since Travis Hunter. Let's knock on wood there. Either he's doing the biggest troll job ever as he continues to every day. It's like Lester posts another picture of him in Florida State gear. I ain't seen a picture of him in Colorado gear in a few weeks. Or when was the last time he posted something in Colorado? I think it was like a week or 2 ago. He posted something with him in Colorado gear. Damn sure I ain't seen him post anything in Georgia gear or Alabama gear. Again, just today he was in Florida State gear. So either he's doing a massive troll job or he's coming to Florida State. And so I expect, as of right now, with the official announcements, that Florida State, out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Out of these 6, I think Florida State goes 4 for 2 on just these guys alone, with Lester leading the charge out, obviously, as the highest rated guy on July 28th. Anybody worried about Lester at this point? I know there's some Florida State fans out there with PTSD, so I know it's coming. But I'm curious. Any of you guys worried about Lester at this point? Shout out to Jeff with the $5 don't know. You don't say anything, but I appreciate you, Jeff, as always, man. Thank you.
Jeff.
Let's get it. He says, man, I see some Miami fans on 24/7 board sending out the bat signals for Ruiz. For who, though? Lester to FSU. Sorry, Canes fans. Lester is all FSU. Man, damn the rest of them. Get me Charles Lester. Well, let's get all of them. Let's get the guys we're supposed to get, should I say. Lester can't play DN, so we still need Dede Holmes. You feel me? But definitely get me Lester. Definitely get me Lester. Lester posted an image of him in Bama gear and rings on his fingers holding a trophy. Yeah, but when, though? Like I said, just today he put maybe I don't follow these kids on their social media. I just, how someone else follows them, and if they like it, then it pops up on your feed. So that's how I saw it. So it's very possible that he has posted himself in other jerseys, and just because Florida State fans aren't liking it means I'm not seeing it. So you could be right there. I just saw him today post him in the interesting combination of the black top, white pants, and I think he was leaning like this by the championship trophies. That was the picture I'm pretty sure I saw today. I knew somebody. Good. I knew somebody was gonna have PTSD. Shout out to Timmy. He's worried. He says he's waiting until Lester till December. I mean, if we're being honest, you should wait till every player we're talking about. You should hold your breath until the ink dries, right? Nothing matters in July per se. So, yeah. But with me, and I can only take a kid by his word and kind of how he acts, Lester has been very transparent with his recruiting process. You know what I'm saying? And so I think when he commits on the 28th, I don't think you're going to see a situation where he's still taking a bunch of visits after that. I think that was the reason why he didn't commit 2 months ago. Go watch Lester 2 months ago and the way he was talking about Florida State and how he wanted to commit right there. But he went on these other official visits. So that I don't see once the 28th comes and he announces, I think that's the school he goes to, whether that's Florida State or whatever. I'm not worried about Lester. Anything can happen in those months. But I'm just the way he's handled his recruiting process. I'm not too worried. Damian Adams is worried. Terrence isn't worried. Williams not worried. Confidence on 11. Tyler's not worried. Yes, sir. I'm a little worried because it seems too easy. Some kids Derwin James was too easy. I think Derwin James committed as a sophomore and never even took a visit nowhere else. Sometimes you just grow up a Nole, man. Sometimes it is too easy. But I feel you. What's up, Born Legacy? I do too. And again, I can only take him for the way he's acted, right? I don't know the young man. I don't, but everything he's shown me to this point has said he's thought this out. And when he announces that's what he wants. So we'll see though. We'll see. Now we get into the guys who haven't officially announced or hasn't officially put out an announcement date. And the first guy on that list, now all these rankings that I've given you guys have been composite rankings. This is the most controversial prospect, I think, in the entire 23 class. And that's just Jonathan Daniels, man. On three thinks he's here. 247, not the composite. The composite is a combination of every recruiting ranking. And that's how they get what they get. On three got him up here off the camera. 247 has him a 3-star down here. It's like the 29th ranked interior offensive lineman. Rivals isn't that high on him either. ESPN's like in the middle on him. Jonathan Daniels is a 4-star, nationally ranked 101st player in the country, 6'3", 280 offensive lineman. I don't know what the hell's going on with Jonathan Daniels in terms of his ranking. I'm not sure what On Three sees in him to have him a 5-star, especially if you're telling me he's an offensive tackle. If you're telling me he could be a 5, and it's very rare that interior O-linemen get 5-star rankings. But if you want to tell me that as an interior O-lineman, he could be a 5-star, maybe I'm more on board with that. But as a 6'3", 280-pound tackle, yeah, I'm not so sure what On Three sees. And I'm not so sure why 247's so down on him. But this is one of the more controversial players. But he's a guy that Atkins has put a lot of effort into. Florida State has prioritized. And though he hasn't announced, he is a guy that has been rumored. There's a heavy rumor out there. Again, I don't know anybody. Obviously, I'm just that light-skinned dude on YouTube, so I got nobody, no connection, none of that. But it's heavily rumored that guy, that he's been silently committed since his visit, and that he's supposed to announce anytime in the next few weeks. Like he could pop at any minute. He could pop in the next 5 minutes, according to rumors. And the expectation is Florida State. I think he will announce in the month of July. I will say this, though, about Jonathan Daniels. If for whatever reason you don't get that announcement in the month of July, that has to be a bad sign for FSU. Not only that, I would say the longer he takes to announce, that's a bad sign for Florida State. Now, it hasn't even been a full week yet, so don't be too worried. Yes, sir. You just want to be on the camera. Get out of here.
I just want to
Get out of here. Get out of here. So the longer he takes, I think the more you should be concerned if you're a Florida State fan.
Yes.
But if every time about him committing in the next week or two, got to have high confidence that this is the Seminoles, right? Got to have high confidence. So I am going to pick Florida State, and I'm going to put a confidence level at 7. The longer that thing goes, the more my confidence drops. That's how I feel. That's how I feel about Jonathan Daniels. But as of right now, man, I feel pretty good about him. He's just a very interesting prospect in terms of the varied opinions on him. I can't recall a player this widely evaluated so differently. Stop. Go play. Okay, give me a hug and go play. Now go play. That way. Let's see. A lot of fans are still scared from the Hunter incident. Yeah, I get it. The national O lineman class was the immediate. No, so that's true. I think. I mean, you don't really have to go to the media, but just go look at the actual play. Go look at the recruiting rankings yourself, and then just go watch their different huddles. This isn't a great class for O linemen nationally, but that still doesn't explain it still doesn't explain, in my opinion, the varied opinions on Daniels. What it probably means is that teams are gonna dig in for more of those quote unquote gems, especially on the O line. We're gonna talk about another O lineman soon that I like his makeup. I don't know how good of a player he is, but I like his makeup. It's just interesting that Daniels has such a wide evaluation on him. Atkins could have 0 committed O linemen the day before signing day, and I still feel good about our O lineman class. I'm with you, bro. See, and this to me makes no sense. And I'm not coming for you, Tim. I'm just saying this is where silent commitments lose me. If you're telling me that a kid is silent committed because he wants to do his own announcement in a short period of time, then that makes sense. But if you're telling me he's going to commit on the 4th of July and just not announce it, that is now we're talking about Florida State should be worried. Why would I can't wrap my mind around why you commit and don't announce it. It doesn't make sense to me. You're saying he's just gonna pop out with her. Oh, okay. When you say don't announce it, I thought you meant like he was gonna just like commit and never say anything. But okay, if you mean like he's just gonna pop out and edit, that makes more sense. Okay, that makes more sense. You cannot have a silent verbal commitment. It just doesn't make sense to me is the thing about it, which is what I always hear. But I wholeheartedly agree with Briley here. Like, but that's what you hear though. You hear from certain different people. Oh, we got a couple of silents. What does that mean? All that means to me is they're not confident enough in their commitment to tell everybody. That means they're still exploring their options. That's what that means to me. So silent commitments mean nothing unless you're telling me, for instance, example, you visit on a Saturday. On that Saturday, you tell the coaches, I'm committed. But please, can we not say anything because I want to make my own announcement in the next week. I want to put a video package together. Whatever you want to do, because that is these kids' moment. Like, theoretically, you only get a chance to commit once, but you actually can commit as many times as you want. But you get what I'm saying? This is their moment. Then that silent commitment makes sense to me. But if you're telling me in July, you're silently committed, and we're in October, and you're still telling me we got some silent commitments. Get out of here with that. No, you don't. You don't have any silent commitments for 4 months. It just doesn't happen. So that's kind of what I'm saying. But no, Tim, I'm with you. If you're telling me that there's no right that he's just gonna drop a cool edit or video package, then I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. That makes sense. That makes sense. I just thought you were saying like, oh, he was gonna commit but just not say anything. So I got you. That's basically what it. Silent commitment just means you're a swinger, bro. just means you're a swinger. It just means, hey, yeah, I'm single, but I live with my baby mama. What are we talking about? Yes, I saw an interview with Ramsey. Yep, I did see that. You think Luke? Yeah, speaking of Luke, he jumped major. Matter of fact, Luke jumped into the number 3 quarterback in the country on 247. Shout out to Luke. On Daniels, I'm not worried about the recruiting record on O-line. So if you've watched me for longer than a day, the one position or the one position group that I won't say I don't put a lot of stock in, but I don't mind you taking, for instance, the Otto kid we just took, or Dontre Richardson we took the class before, or Kanaya Charlton. You've never heard me like knock an O-line recruitment because that is probably the hardest position to evaluate. And players' bodies can change drastically. I have zero issues with O-line. Like if you look at some of the O-line, like I don't know, we'd have to go to like actual numbers. But off the top of my head, man, I feel like O-linemen get drafted in the first round every year that you've never heard of. There weren't some because insane growth spurts happen in college and stuff. And I'm not worried about the ranking per se when it comes to Daniels. I trust Atkins' evaluation. I'm just saying it's just interesting that he's so widely evaluated. Like usually everybody's kind of in the same ballpark with these kids. But this guy's up here in the middle, down here. Like it's so that's all I'm saying with Daniels. But when it comes to O-line in general, you evaluate those guys and you take your best guys because I've seen many a 5-star, more than any position at O-line flame out. Just because they never could properly develop from a body standpoint. And again, maybe the greatest center in Florida State's history was a 2-star tight end and Brian Stork, right? A first-round offensive tackle was a 2-star DN in Cam Irving. Like, you get my point? Like, that offensive line recruiting, I'm not worried about it. Evaluate the guys you got and then use them accordingly. Not worried about O-linemen. I'm not even sure what Rodney Hudson, he's probably the greatest O-lineman in all in Florida State's history. I'm not sure. Well, there's Walter Jones too, but I don't know what Rodney Hudson was coming out of high school. But he was kind of undersized, so Luke should have got his 5th star. I don't understand how you jump him that high and not give him his 5th star. Daniels looked like a grown man now. Interesting. So y'all say Daniels isn't 6'3", 280 anymore? I remember Chris said we had 2 silent commits during the first week of June, and now none of them are coming. Like I said, man, if you got a silent commit for longer than a month, he's not a silent commit, bro. Can we please land a blue chip detail? I'm not getting on that with you, R. Davius. Y'all be trying to set me up to have a conversation. And I don't even be trying to have that conversation. Y'all set me up for it almost every show. Top 32, our 5th star. Luke is 33rd. Right. Ain't that interesting how that worked? Hudson was a 3-star. So there you go. See, there you go. That's what I'm saying. I'm not offensive line valuation is more important than just recruiting the stars on O-linemen. So I'm not too worried about that. Let's keep it moving, man, to a Tallahassee native, Makai Dancy, 4-star, nationally ranked 152, 6 foot, 165. He's actually, I guess, a safety in high school. He's listed as an athlete, but he's being recruited by Florida State as a running back. He is supposed to announce also sometime this summer. I think his exact words was he's going to announce at the end of the summer, which I guess theoretically would be the end of July, somewhere around that time. We'll see when he decides to announce his commitment, but I feel good. I've been saying I want to see us keep some of our guys home. Right, we need to start keeping some of our guys home. When I say our guys, I'm talking about Tallahassee natives. We have been abysmal in keeping Terry and Arnold home. Not the tight end. I'm sorry, the 5-star linebacker from last year who went to Georgia. Now you got Makai. We've been terrible of keeping our Tallahassee natives home. That has to change. And Makai Dancy, I believe, becomes one of the first steps in starting to change the narrative in Tallahassee. I feel very good here. He complements Cam Davis extremely well. It's another reason why I really love this prospect. We talk about bringing on a Cam Davis, who is some people call him Cam Akers, a Cam Akers type running back, which is not a terrible comparison. But you talk about Davis. Low center of gravity, stocky build, almost bowling ball-esque type body there. Then you got Makai Dancy, who's a little taller, more of a fluid athlete, almost in the Toa Philly-like build here with Makai Dancy. Tracks type speed, very good, very great compliment to Cam. And I feel good. I think Florida State knocked it out of the park there. I'm going Florida State here too. The confidence level of, I don't know who else is in the mix here. I know you guys will probably tell me in the chat. I'm going 7. I think Florida State in a confidence level of 7 here. I think we get him. I think we get Danzy. We got to start again. We got to keep these damn guys home. We got to keep these guys home. So yeah, Raylan Wilson was who I'm talking about, right? Got to keep these guys home. It's not that hard. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. I can understand how you grow up in Tally and maybe you don't want to stay there. I get it. But I don't know. I don't know, man. It's hard to really convince me like Tallahassee's any worse than like Athens or some of these guys are going to Tuscaloosa. Like, you telling me, I don't know. We can start keeping these guys home. You can say it's hard to keep guys home when you're not winning, but I think we got to start shifting the narrative there with these guys. And I like Makai Dancy, and I think we're gonna end up keeping this one home. I'm trying to be unbiased with these, but I really think Florida State did a good job closing here in this last month. So I think you're going to see Makai Dancy stay home. I think we might have a top 8 ranked class by the start of the season. If you land some of these guys that we're talking about, you'll be there. You'll be there. Y'all say hello to T2Y. The trolls are getting worse, though, my man. Come on. You worried about when the last time we had a commit. Worried about the product that y'all – worried about the caliber of athlete that y'all are committing right now. Go look at Miami's average recruit. Matter of fact, you ain't got to go look at it. I'm going to tell you. See, I was waiting for this one. I was waiting for this troll. I got you. Don't worry. I got you. I promise you I got you. Miami. The Miami Hurricanes. Let's find them. Miami Hurricanes have 14 players committed. The Florida State Seminoles have 11 players committed. So you have 3 more players committed. 3 4-stars. Florida State has 7 4-stars, and 1 5-star. Miami has none, and 11 3-stars with an average recruiting rating of 87.99. Well, Florida State is in the 90s, 90.63 to be exact. You have 1 player in the top 100, 2 players in the top 200. Hell, you have 2 players in the top 300. Sir, don't come over here and talk about recruiting right now. You just took a cornerback. What is his ranking? Who's the name of that guy y'all just took today? He's not even ranked. You took a cornerback with no national ranking. Tough. It's tough work out there for the Hurricanes. Y'all get a Hurricane guys some love. They are hurting on the trail right now. I want to talk about last time we got a commitment and them boys taking discount auto part workers and McDonald's burger flippers. And I say that in jest. That's not knocking those kids. I get it. I definitely get it. Bro, I don't need the credit. I'm not the only one who said it. So to be fair, maybe Jeff did say it a year ago. I don't know when Jeff Cameron, who does a great job, by the way, I don't know when he said that. I just know why I said it a year ago. And whoever else said it, they said it. Maybe, a lot of people thought that he should have been a linebacker. In hindsight, everybody's going to be like, yeah, man, he should have been a linebacker. The beautiful thing is here, you can go look it up on this channel. Go look up the videos of what I said about Brian Courtney. I don't know when Jeff Cameron said it, but shout out to him. Maybe he just seen the same things I see. Mario has Miami in hell. What's up, motivated, dedicated, Big Sarge? What's going on? Nasty work. Courtney finally moved to backer. Yeah, we talked about it in the beginning of the show, by the way. So if you guys want to go see, I did talk about Miami, not Miami. God, got me talking about that garbage. I did talk about Brian Courtney at the beginning of the show, moving to backer. Chris with another $9.99. He goes, hit the dang on like. Say it again, Chris. Hit my like button.
Go your motherfucking ass to sleep. Whoa, shit, what the fuck good buddy hit me with? I told him I wasn't sleepy. He had to have a brick in that bitch.
That's interesting because I disagree. I don't think the room's awful. I think you can. I think you can knock the depth. I think if you're counting too much on DeMarco Ward and these other guys, again, that's not knocking the kids. I just call it how I see it. Right? It's nothing personal. I have to say that now in the disclaimer because like people really get in their feels and say you hate kids and all whatever. Can't even like talk about football now without having to shelter feelings. If you're worried about the depth of that room, I understand it. I think Bethune, DeLoach, and Lundy are good ACC backers. I'm expecting DeLoach to take that jump. I think out of all the players, and y'all know I love me some Tatum Bethune, but I think out of all the backers, I think DeLoach is the one that can take that jump. But where I would agree with Jeff is the following years. You're telling me 24, 25, like, yeah, I'm kind of worried about linebackers, and that's because of the damn recruiting. So I'm with you there. Go that way, man. So he sits right behind me. Hey, over there. FSU was the first offer that guy that committed today. And obviously, he was offered by not Patrick Surtain. So that offer means jack at this point. Come on, man. You know better. You're smarter than that. Be better. Be better. Be better. There was a time when T2Y was better than this. But y'all have been beaten into submission. The Miami Hurricanes have been oddly quiet. 45-3 will do that to you. Cuban Jesus actually showing to be the Antichrist will do that to you. You guys are starting to realize you're in hell. Mario ain't going to bring you out of it. I get it. You got to be better. It's up to you, T2Y, to be better. Miami fans are counting on you to be better because you are their only form of entertainment, because that shit on Saturdays ain't going to cut it. Be better. Anyway. Insane Mob was good. Yeah, that tells you all you need to know. Tells you all you need to know. You don't even know his name. What is this? Oh. Damn. Let's go, man. Let's keep it moving. Jalewis Solomon, 4-star. Nationally ranked, 211, 6'1", 185 athlete / corner. Don't have a good feel on this one. I'll be honest with you all about this one. This is the one. This is another one. So far, up until this point, Florida State, I think, misses out on James Madison. I think they miss out on Kylan Fox. This probably is the third one that I think we miss out on here. And I think a lot of people feel good about this one, but I just don't. I don't have a personal feel on Jalewis. I think a lot of people feel really, really, really strong here. I don't know. So because I don't know, I'm going to lean toward the more pessimistic side of this one. It could be completely wrong here. That's why I'm telling y'all all this. But I would like to know if anybody. I wonder who. I don't know who else, but he's expected to announce sometime in July. And I know he gave rave reviews after his visit, but again, I always take those with a grain of salt because they all say great things after visits. So I don't take any of that, to heart. Oh, I love my visit. These guys are family, and I would definitely want to be here. And then the next day he commits to Ohio State or something. So I always take that with a grain of salt. With that said, some people feel pretty good about him. 7 out of 10 on Lewis. Williams thinks we get him. Damien thinks he's the third most important guy on this list. I feel you. I just don't have a good feel on him. And because I don't have a good feel on him, my personal pick will be I don't know. Because again, I don't know what other schools are even in the mix here. But yeah, this might be a cop out on this one, but I'm gonna say like Hypnotic here. I'm gonna just go 50-50 on this one because I agree. He's a very important piece. I mean, you're talking about my two corners going into the season. If you're talking my DB room, looks like Charles Lester, Ricky Knight, and Jalewis Solomon. Whew, I'm cooking with. I'm hot. I'm hot, right? I just don't know. And I feel like this is one that I think a lot of Florida State fans are feeling pretty good about. Like, we know we're not getting Kylan Fox, right? I'm going Mizzou on James Madison when you talk about everything encompassed there with the wide receiver room and all the other stuff. But I don't know. I think Jalewis Solomon could be the one that we're expecting that we don't get. So, but I probably get pushed back there, and that's fine. Again, I'm fully admitting that I don't have a clue what I'm talking about on Jalewis Solomon. But I'm going to pick elsewhere here. I'm not going to get a confidence level because I don't even know what other school he's going to commit to. But I'll just say 50-50 on this one. I feel like there's, I don't know, somewhere else. And then, Let's Get It says Auburn is coming for him and his big brother's on that team. That's what I'm seeing. So there's some signs out there. I'm going to go 50-50. And we'll see what happens with Jalewis Solomon. But I think we miss on this one. Come to Magic City the night we three-peat. Drinks on me. Hit the like button. And yeah, I read those comments already. So yeah, 50-50 on Lewis Solomon. But for me, it's probably not even 50-50 if I'm being honest. It's like a 60-40 the other way. I just don't have good feels on them. You know, so y'all know me. I'm not going to sit here and pump you full of rainbows and furry bunnies and Skittles. Like, I'm going to tell you how I really feel. So for this one, I don't have good feels on this one. But guy that I do have extremely high feels on is Ty Hilton, 3-star offensive lineman, nationally ranked 909, 6'4", 270 offensive lineman. This is a guy with a great frame. Now, again, we just talked about it earlier. Offensive line recruiting, for me, I don't look at stars. I'm not saying stars don't matter. I'm just saying I don't look at them. And I've seen plenty of 5-star fizzle out. I've seen plenty of 5-star not even see the field as offensive linemen because it's a crapshoot, I think, when it comes to offensive linemen. And an 18-year-old and you talking and trying to figure out where that an 18-year-old, let's just use Ty Hilton for an example. An 18-year-old, 6'4", 270-pound, 18 or 17-year-old, and trying to assume that you can put the weight on in an appropriate manner to get him to 3 whatever and him still be as athletic as he is at 270. I don't know if there's an exact science to that. There doesn't seem to be. We watch a guy called Jalen Goss. They couldn't get over 260 pounds. He had the frame, couldn't put no weight on him, right? So it just works out that way. Some of these guys don't gain that 30 to 40 pounds that you think they're going to gain, even if the frame says that they can fill out. Genetics is a motherfucker, and you never know how genetics really work with some of these young men. Some guys can't gain the weight. Some guys can't lose the weight that you want them to lose, right? I'll use Kanaya Charlton as an example. I'm not saying he can't lose the weight. I'm just saying body type wise, you take a guy like Kanaya who's 6'5", 350, and you go, that guy moves great at 350. Imagine if we get him down to 320. But genetically, is that feasible? Every guy is a crapshoot on the O-line. Speaking specifically of Ty Hilton, though, I like his frame. Obviously, he's not highly ranked and all that. But when I look at the young man, I go, whew, he looks like an offensive lineman, looks like a guy that I can build and mold into something. And I think Florida State should feel pretty good about Ty Hilton in the month of July if he indeed chooses to announce. Because I think they'll get 2 O-linemen this month in Jonathan Daniels and Ty Hilton. I think that's a good pairing. And again, this isn't a great offensive line class nationally anyway. So nothing wrong with going out there and trying to find some gems, guys that maybe you got to sit for 2 or 3 years, but get them on the field, they'll be ready to go. And last on the list, so I don't see a lot of comments about Ty Hilton, Kevin Levy, 3-star, nationally 6'93", 6', 170. Wide receiver / DB. I think Florida State is recruiting him as a DB. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Levy is a package deal with Ricky Knight. Somebody want to correct me there before I continue. Galaxy, that's a star rating position at every position. Yes and no. Again, I don't like to go into the stars don't matter thing because the NFL draft says differently. So as fans, and I'm going to call it like I see it, Galaxy King, and I take shots, but I'm not necessarily taking a shot at Miami here because Florida State was in the same boat, and I heard my fan base say the same things. As a matter of fact, as recently as a couple weeks ago, I've had my fan base tell me Florida State purposely passes on some 5 stars because they rather have the hardworking 3-star. You can get the hell out of here. That is foolishness. So I say that to say, when our teams aren't normally recruiting to the caliber we think they should, we tend to go, oh man, the stars are this guy's this. And the facts are, stars are usually more accurate in totality than not. Whether it's, I mean, go look at quarterbacks. Stars are usually fairly on point with Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence and these other guys that come out, and go to the league. Lamar, well, I think Lamar was a 3-star. Jameis was a 5-star, first overall pick. Quarterbacks are usually pretty accurate. D linemen are almost, you can put a nail on the head with some of these with a majority of the D linemen that are getting like Jadeveon Clowney, and like the D linemen are usually pretty spot on. But I just think all offensive linemen as a whole, I don't think are that entrenched in the star rankings or star ratings, should I say. Jeffrey says, how many you think we commit in July? So if you take these guys that we expect to announce, so right now Florida State is officially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 we have dates for. That's Lester, Fox, Madison, Moore, Knight, and Holmes. We know the dates they will announce. Out of those 6, I think FSU goes 4 for 2. I think they miss out on Fox. They miss out on Madison. I think they get everybody else. Then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys. 5 guys. Pause. Burgers. Cool. 5 guys that we don't have dates for, but we expect an announcement in this month. Out of those 5, I think we get Daniels, Danzy, Hilton, and I just got a feeling that Levy and Knight are like they want to play together. Don't know that for sure, but there was a lot of talk at one point that Ricky Knight had wanted to commit to Florida State for a while, and then all of a sudden Kevin Levy got a crystal ball to Florida State, and it's like Ricky Knight's recruitment opened up, and now I think out of those 5 guys, we get 1, 2. I think we get 4 of those 5. So you could be talking about leaving the month of July with, what is that? 8 guys? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, with 8 commits. I don't think 8 commits is I think 8 commits is extremely possible. I think 8 commits is that's what I would say. I would go with 8. Again, I think we miss out on Madison. I think we miss out on Fox. And I think we miss out on Solomon. I think you have to have reasonable expectations, right? We're not going to go. I see William thinks we're going to get all except Fox. I mean, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, would it be awesome to get 10 out of 11? That'd be dope. We just looked at the recruiting class. Just want to see something real quick. So that means Florida State would enter August with 21 commits. You're telling me the class would almost be done at that point. And maybe that's a good sign, maybe not. I'm not so sure. I just don't know, man. I don't know. Top 5 players in state schools wasn't a 5-star coming out of high school. Top 5 players in all the in-state schools wasn't a 5-star coming out of high school. Top 5 players in all the in-state schools. Are you talking about like Florida State, Miami, and Florida, the top 5 players on those teams? I can't speak for Miami. I don't know who y'all's top 5 players are, if that's what you're saying. But Leonard Taylor and James Williams aren't one of the top 5 players on your team. Both 5 stars coming out. As far as Florida State, who's our top 5 guys? Of course, Jordan Travis, he was not a 5-star. Jarrett Verse wasn't a 5-star. Pat was a 4-star. If you consider him a top 5 guy. I don't know, man. There's a conversation to have there. Akeem Dent was a fringe 5-star in some sites, and some sites he wasn't. Don't know if he's a top 5 player. Graham Mertz was a 5-star. I don't know if he's a top 5 player for them. I can't speak for the other teams. But I don't know. I'm not sure the case you're trying to make, you're making it. Because if you're telling me the top 5 players in all the in-state schools wasn't 5-star coming out, I want you to also look at what the top teams in the state have done. Outside of Florida State, who had a 10-win season, Miami and Florida didn't even make bowl games. So again, this doesn't speak well to the whole point that star rankings matter. Do package deals actually exist? Barely. I agree with you to a point, Tyler. I feel like every time we hear about package deals, but we do know package deals exist. We have a package deal on our team. Jalen Early and Jabril Powers. You can't convince me. I know they wanted Jalen Early. I don't know Florida State takes Jabril Powers without Jalen Early. I believe they were a package deal. I'm not so sure we ever even see Jabril Powers play football at Florida State. Unless he moves position somewhere. That's not a knock on Jabril, but I mean, it is what it is. With the tight end recruiting the way it's going and all these things, here we are. So I think we know that package deals do exist to some extent. Are they as wide? Are they as big as I think people will try to make you seem? Probably not. His brother is Zayden Walker, who composite 9th rank. You're talking about Solomon, right? Imagine if Saban only signed 3 stars. Bama would never. Well, of course. And that's where I think anybody, and I know we're kind of getting off topic, but we finished all the kids. So now y'all know how we do. Just start spitting, talking about whatever you want to talk about. But to this point right here, I don't understand the notion of the 3-star. And that you can recruit a team full of hardworking 3 stars. I just look at the national champions. Georgia recruits insane. Bama recruits insane. When Clemson went on their run, look at the guys they were recruiting. Go look at LSU's team. I mean, you don't have to go that far. If you're a Florida State fan, let's not pretend like 2013 wasn't stacked with, 5-star Jalen Ramsey and 5-star Darby and 5-star Jameis Winston and 5-star Carlos Williams and 4-star James Wilder, 5-star Timmy Jernigan, 5-star Mario Edwards, 5-star LaMarcus Joyner. But for some reason, we've convinced ourselves, even Florida State fans who have the evidence, we convince ourselves that, no, man, we can win with a bunch of hardworking 3 stars. The facts say differently, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. The truth is what the truth is. You can say stars don't matter, but they matter. Because if they didn't matter, the teams that were winning natties wouldn't win natties. TCU doesn't get their doors blown off in the national championship as a bunch of hardworking 3 stars if the stars didn't matter. Stars matter. They just do. Show me the day. You're going to have to show me the day where college football isn't the NCAA basketball. Cinderella teams are rare. I mean, you had Boise State in like the early 2000s. They never won a natty, but they were able to do some things and win some games. Tulane just beat USC last year. I mean, I get it, right? But show me like the hardware. It doesn't exist. Teams that get the 5 stars get the hardware. I can't agree with any of this you said. First of all, they do sign 3 stars. But this notion that, again, this is Florida State fans, we've been here. I don't miss these days. I'm sorry, Galaxy. I got to call it what it is, bro. Like, you're just saying that because Mario's recruiting all these 3 stars. If Mario had a team, I didn't hear last year when y'all signed the number 7 ranked class in the country, you wasn't saying that about the 5-star offensive tackles y'all got. They were legit 5 stars, right? They were legit 5 stars. But for some reason, the 3 stars you sign aren't legit 3 stars. They should be 4 stars. And the only reason Bama and these guys get the 4 stars is because the 3 stars didn't get bumped up. Bro, come on. Luke Kromenhoek was a no star when Florida State got a commitment, and he's bumped his way. Do you think Luke Kromenhoek is now the number 3rd, according to 247, the number 3rd quarterback in the country because he's committed to Florida State? No, that's not. That's no, not at all. That's because he's gone to every camp and he's killed it. And he has all the measurables. Again, I'm not saying the star rankings are infallible. There's plenty of guys that I've seen, Arch Manning being one. Well, I don't think Arch Manning is as bad as a quarterback as people like to say he is, but I definitely think he got a star boost because his name was Arch Manning. I definitely think that. But this notion that the only reason Saban and Kirby don't sign 3 stars is because guys get rating a star boost. Kirby, who's the name of the D tackle that they signed that was a 3-star that went that Jordan Davis, wasn't that his name? Or yeah, the big what's his name? Jordan Davis, like 340-pound D tackle they recently had that plays for the Eagles now. He was a 3-star. He didn't get a rating boost. And he turned out to be the best defensive tackle in college football that year. I mean, I don't buy the narrative. Florida State fans, that sounds very familiar, doesn't it? Y'all know what I'm talking about. That sounds very familiar. We were saying that type of stuff when Mike was recruiting what he was recruiting. And I still hear some of that from Florida State fans. I'm just going to call it like it is, Galaxy. Panama says, recruiting has become more of a roller coaster than I don't even care to join and follow anymore. I agree with that. I don't enjoy recruiting as much as I used to. I'll wait till December or the signing period, and then I will pick up. I feel you. I don't disagree with that. Who remembers that package deal, DN? I think that committed to Miami. But TCU was in the national championship game. Yeah, and they got their doors blown off. And had lost their conference game, the week before? Or 2 weeks before. I mean, you can make a case. And I personally believe I thought TCU deserved to be in the playoff. And they beat Michigan, so you can't knock it. But, I mean, again, there's just plenty of data that says 5 stars, or just stars in general, matter. So Timmy wants to play the star game, so we're going to play the star game. I have no problem playing the star game. Absolutely. You name 2 players. When I started naming off stars, I named off 10. You can definitely scout very well and fill those other spots on the team, which is exactly what happened. You absolutely can do that. But if your old lineman consisted of 2 and 3 stars and your quarterback was its 2-star and Rashard Green and Kelvin Benjamin with 2 stars and 3 stars, do I need to go down the list? You name 2 players. I can name you 22 players who were 4 and 5 stars. Blue chip, high-end blue chip prospects. Whether you're talking Chris Casher, 5-star. Again, Jacoby McDaniel, 5-star. Christian Jones, 5-star. We can do this. We can do it. Don't give me 1s and 2s and go, that means stars don't matter. And I'm giving you 34 players that were 4 and 5 stars on any given roster. Tyler says, meanwhile, the linebackers commit to us and drop 1,000 spots. It's conspiracy again. That's what I'm saying. Randy recruits these linebackers and they don't get a bump up in the rankings. And again, dare I say, show me the linebacker. When's the last time Randy recruited like a good linebacker? Was it Tatum Bethune, the last linebacker that Randy's recruited? Again, it's not me knocking DeMarco Ward. I hope those guys are very successful, but I mean, it is what it is. Sets and better no stars. I mean, that's what I'm saying. You can supplement certain positions when Stetson Bennett was a walk-on, but obviously, right, he was a decent college player. I don't know what he'll be in the pros. I don't. But everything around Stetson Bennett is a 5-star. So, okay. I think Saban and Kirby mastered the development part of recruiting. That's why Jordan Davis and Stetson Bennett were looking like 5 stars on the field. I think we give stat out to Saban and Kirby, but it's easier to develop guys when the hit rate is lower or higher. Or yeah, you can have a higher, or your threat of having a hit rate or miss is what I'm trying to say. Basically, if I recruit 6 5-stars and I miss out on that 1 3-star, it doesn't matter. When you're recruiting 6 3-stars and you miss out on that 5-star, now it's you that missing out on that 5-star, a miss eval on that 5-star makes it seem like, well, the stars don't matter because everything around him, because the 3-stars you have more 3-stars than 5-stars, so the 5-star stands out. It's the reverse when Georgia and Bama do it. You go, oh, they're just developing guys. Well, I said this before and I'll say it again. You can be the greatest racer in the world. You're not going to win many drag races in a Honda Civic and your competition's a Ferrari. Horses matter. Your equipment matters. I can be the greatest sniper in the world, but if I'm shooting a water gun and a motherfucker has a 50 cal sniper on, I can't do anything with that. You got to have the equipment. You got to have the horses. You have to have the players. This notion that you can just develop anything into the NFL is ridiculous. If that was the case, then stars wouldn't matter. And you'd see Buffalo in the national championship every now and then or something like that. There's a reason why you see the same schools in the college football playoff year in and year out, because they're the schools that recruit the best year in and year out. The underdogs of the past eventually need blue chips and defensive end skills positions. 5-stars almost always eventually win big games. Over 3-stars, the results speak. Jeff, I can name every team from a whole decade of the 90s that had 4. Of course you can. That's what you can name the last 30 go back 30 years and I want you to name all the national champions. And then you tell me one of those again, this isn't college basketball. You go show me. We can go back 30 years. We can go back 40 if you want to. Show me the national championship team that you go, well, they didn't have anybody. They just got there. You want to go back to when, and even Colorado when they won, didn't they have Cordell Stewart? Like, well, players win football. Players go to the horses, man. You gotta have the horses. Top schools in the SEC, I mean, not Vandy type prospect. No, I hear what you're saying. You're saying that when Bama recruits a guy, he automatically gets the rating bump. I hear what you're saying. Are you totally wrong, Galaxy? No. My point is not every player. Go look at Bama's recruiting rankings right now. I want you to go look at the guys that were where they ranked before they committed to Bama. Half of them were 5-stars before they committed to Bama. Like, it's not like Bama's going out there and signing 3-stars and they're just getting bumped up to 4 and 5-stars. No, they're recruiting the 5-stars too. Julio Jones, again, I don't want to have to name names to y'all. We know the guys they're recruiting. To a degree, you aren't wrong. Yes, there have been guys that get rating boost when they commit to certain schools. I definitely get that. Let me give Jeff his love. Let me do this one.
The money goes into my piggy bank.
And then I got to give you that, Jeff.
Jeff.
So how did Jimbo? Hold on. I love Timmy because he's gonna argue. Even when he's wrong, he's gonna argue. How did Jimbo get that amazing 22 class, but still went out 5-7 last season? You're gonna have to ask Jimbo that. Obviously, Jimbo hasn't been the same coach since 2013, really, if you want to be honest with you. If you want to use, I mean, if you just want to use Texas A&M as an outlier, that's cool. We can always use outliers or one exception to the rule. So Texas A&M went out, and I mean, Nick Saban said they paid for the class, whatever. They went out and they signed all those boys, and they didn't win anything. I mean, I can't sit here and tell you what happened in that locker room and why that happened the way it happened. Seems to me personally, from the outside, they relied too much on that class. That class was great and talented, but I don't care how talented they are, can't use too many freshmen. And the problem with that class or that year, last year, is you were using all of those freshmen. You weren't going to win a lot of. I don't care how talented you are. Freshman teams come with freshman mistakes. That team would have been great had they compounded it maybe with a couple other of those type of caliber of classes. But I can't give you an answer on Texas A&M. You can use again, just like you did with the players, you gave me 2 or 3 stars and I gave you 22 5 stars. We can do the same thing here. You want to use that one Texas A&M class and say, that's the profile I need. Again, I can give you 30 years worth of national champions that say that's the proof I need. So you gotta let's balance it out. You give me 1, I give you 30. Let's see. Can you give me 30 Texas A&Ms, and then we can have that conversation. I'm not debating that. I'm not debating that the evaluation process is like infallible. I do agree. Are there guys that get evaluated or certain evaluations because they attend all the camps and they're overrated? Absolutely. I see them all the time. Are there guys that are legit gems because they don't attend the camps? Absolutely. See them all the time. I'm speaking I think the problem we're having in this conversation with those that want to argue it, I'm speaking general terms, meaning you give me 1,000 prospects, the numbers say the majority of those 5 stars are going to matter. That's what the numbers say. The NFL draft says. National championships say that. Go look at the previous NFL draft we just had, and you tell me how many 5 stars went in the first round. It's not rocket science. So I'm speaking in general terms. Y'all are trying to use specific or individual anomalies to go, yep, that's it. Absolutely, Galaxy, you're right. Do certain guys pass through the cracks and get overrated or underrated? Absolutely. Generally speaking, the ratings speak for themselves. The star rankings speak for themselves, generally speaking. I know we like to talk shit about On3 and 247 and rivals, but for the most part, meaning majority, the rankings seem to be spot on. Meaning, for the most part, the guys they rate and they say are the 4 and 5 stars usually hit. Do guys sneak through the cracks? Absolutely. It's going to happen. Okay, this is where you lost me. Stetson Bennett ain't winning no Super Bowl, but you're supposed to be a fan. If I was a Georgia fan, I'd be rooting for Stetson Bennett too. But you got to lay off the drink, Sarge. Lay it off. You know and I know. Georgia QBs in the NFL don't translate. And if you throw out Matt Ryan, I'm going to put you in timeout. A kid get offered by UCF in January 3-star. Bam offer him March 4-star. Haven't played another snap. Believe me, I'm not disagreeing with the rating system being fugazi at times. I don't disagree with you, bro. I do not disagree with you. I've seen it too. I've seen guys drop. I've seen guys be rated a 5-star in June and somehow come August, like you say, they haven't played a snap from June to August and they go to a 4-star. And I'm like, well, what the hell happened there? So I'm with you. Georgia lost the number 1 tight end, Landon Thomas. He committed to us. All of a sudden, he went to the number 2 tight end, and then the new tight end that Georgia recruited got the number 1 spot. I hear you. I'm just talking big picture, but I hear you. Well, see, here's the problem with that, Damien. It's hard to go back to the late 80s, early 90s and talk about recruiting, because what Nebraska did at that time, Nebraska lived in Florida. And the recruiting services wasn't that in depth. I mean, I think Ray Lewis was not rated as a high prospect. I mean, in today's game, Ray Lewis would have been a 5-star. I can't go back to that time frame and talk about 3-star and talk about the stars in the early 90s, late 80s, because the way they evaluated the players wasn't even the same, right? Back then, you just came to the state of Florida, and that's how Nebraska was that good. You just come to the state of Florida, get you the Tommy Frazier's of the world, and you're going to do what you do. You know what I'm saying? They definitely don't ignore the 3 stars. Definitely don't. That's my point, though. They don't ignore the 3 stars either. And there's definitely, but I guess I'm just saying they have a higher, what's the word I'm using here? They just have higher room for error. Because they're going to get Marvin Jones, they're going to get Raylan Wilson, they're going to get all these 5-star guys. And so a guy like Jordan Davis gets a chance because everybody around him is so great. I'm not saying he wasn't great, but everybody around him is so great. When they say iron sharpens iron, if you're a 3-star at Georgia and somehow you find yourself on the field, that means you the real deal. Because you had to beat out everybody around you. That definitely means you the real deal. They don't ignore the 3 stars at all. How y'all let Derrick Henry get out of Florida? Man, Marco, go stop. Players get out of Florida every year. Players have been getting out of Florida, again, I just mentioned it, since the 80s. Florida can't keep all the players. Too much talent per capita. It's like saying Texas or California. How y'all let those players get out? Too many players. Development is key. That's the word I hear. Development is key. Okay. I won't disagree with you. I just want to ask you a question, Timmy, and we can either agree to disagree, but I would like you to answer this question, though. That if development is the key. What is easier to develop? Let me phrase it this way. I'm selling a house, and I'm going to sell these 2 homes. One house, I just got to refurbish or redo the inside. It's a 5-bedroom, $500,000 home that needs some work done on the inside. This other home, same thing, 5-bedroom home, but the beams are rotting. The foundation's cracking. I have to do way more work on this home than this home. Which one's going to be easier to sell? Which one's going to be easier to renovate and get my money back? What am I going to have to put more money into? So essentially, am I doing this, getting a stallion, or am I getting what's those type of horses that, I don't know, a pony? What's easier to win a Kentucky Derby with? Brandon says, sounds like we capping just to save face for not recruiting on elite level. In order for us to take the next step, we got to, hey, bro, you said it, not me. And I'm not even making this a Florida State thing. I think we're just having this conversation in general. I think it's very interesting that we like to talk about recruiting and how, I don't mind having the conversation. It rubs me wrong when I just hear that I'll take the hardworking 3-star that I can develop over the 5-star. Like if you can't develop the 5-star. To me, in my opinion, stars don't matter. Cause all that stars talked out the window when you step on campus. That is the great myth in football. I love when teams say that. Stars don't matter when you hit campus. Sure, I mean, okay, stars don't matter. The NFL draft says differently. That's only really that I just continue to go back to that. The draft says differently. Y'all say the stars don't matter when you hit the campus, but the draft says if you was a 5-star coming out of high school, you probably are in the first round. Again, generally speaking, are there 5 stars that fall in the draft? Absolutely. Are there 3 stars that hit the first round? Absolutely. But there's 32 NFL teams. How many 3 stars were picked in the first round? 2, 3. Stars seem to matter when they hit the campus as well. You know why? Because stars usually mean you have that next level of gear, that next level of talent, that twitchiness at the athletic level that maybe the 3-star doesn't have. I don't know. Stars matter, but I know I'll never convince you that stars don't matter. Fatal Jedi is like, I'm sick of talking about stars. So anyway, what do you think about FSU getting that kid from Phoenix, Alabama? Sorry. I like I said, I think Elijah Moore. I don't think we get him. I think there's a good chance you're going to go into August with 5 wide receivers committed, and you probably swinging for the fences with Smith and Trader after that. Even if you get a decommit, if you're telling me Elijah Moore and Fryer and Gibson is like your core of that receiving room, and maybe Abrams is your core of that receiving room, and you may lose a McCoy or whatever, and you're trying to get 2 5-star receivers. I mean, I think you're happy with that room and happy with where you're at. I don't know. I know he's on the board. I just don't know, though. Have I beaten Sekiro? I don't. No, man. I don't. I played Sekiro for a little bit. Those soul games, man, they hard. No, I never beat that game. I guess if you're just looking to have fun, stars don't matter. But winning natties and getting players drafted, stars seem to matter. Some of those recruits were getting ranked based on 7-on-7. From spring evaluation, who y'all best incoming freshman? Who's our best freshman? What do y'all think? From what I saw from the spring, they targeted Vandravius Jacobs a lot. He didn't do a lot, but obviously there's something about him that they saw in the spring that they like a lot. He was the hot name of the spring as far as true freshmen go. But you had Quintarius Jones, who had an interception. I really wish we would have gotten to see Kirkland. I would have liked to see how he looked in that secondary. Hell, Dustin Hill might be the best freshman on the team. From what I'm hearing, it might be Dustin Hill. If I'm just keeping it being with you. Not to be a Jimbo apologist, because I'm enjoying what's happening for what he did at FSU. I think everybody is enjoying what's going on there at Texas A&M at College Station. But not even Saban wins 10 games with the injury. They did have a lot of injuries, too. That's a good point from Philly. They also had a ton of injuries last year. And I agree with you. Because of those injuries, they were forced to play a lot of freshmen. And again, you field a freshman. I don't care if all the freshmen are 5 stars. You field a young team, no matter how talented, you're just going to have those growing pains. Good point. Galaxy says 3 stars, or I don't agree with that. But I can understand where you're coming from, where you go like a 3-star. He has a chip on his shoulder. He's gonna work. That's that hardworking 3-star. That's that narrative. Like, I want that hardworking 3-star because he's got a chip. He gonna prove everybody wrong. And that 5-star, he's a diva. I just don't agree with it, bro. I don't agree that I don't agree with it. Players you can develop in your system matters the most. Examples are Wisconsin, Wake, early mid-2000s, Oregon, all won with players. None of those teams you mentioned won the Natty, though, which is what we're basing this off of, I guess. Again, like somebody earlier said in the comments, if you want to win a bunch of games, okay, you can tell me that stars don't matter. If you want to win national championships, the data says stars matter. Timmy says, Polk, Jimbo left FSU in 17. We only went to playoffs one time between 14 and 17 and 14. And we was recruiting very well. But we also know, I mean, let's add context to it. Y'all want to keep this conversation, but that's fine. Y'all, let's bring context to it. Jimbo was checked out. You can't use 14 and 17 as that. First of all, I hate to say it, because I know there are, I think most of FSU fans don't like Jimbo at this point, and I get it. I think there are some that still you at least respect what he did, but you can really, if you take away the 13 and 14, you take away 13 and 14 for Florida State. Jameis's 2 years. Jimbo's not that great. He's not that great, if we're just being bluntly honest. So that's a damning point on maybe Jimbo Fisher's development, but you can't knock his recruiting. Again, I don't think it's a coincidence that you went on a 30-game win streak from 13 to 14 or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, by the time we're talking about 16, 17, man, Jimbo's not even the same guy. And we know that as Florida State fans, right? But it's all our opinion. So that's why we're just arguing it. Of course it's your opinion, and it's my opinion. And neither one of us are theoretically right. It's okay. You don't have to emphasize that it's your opinion, because it's my opinion. I make that clear on every show that I don't know anything, dude. I'm just a light-skinned dude in my man cave talking. Don't even know what I'm talking about, man. I'm just talking. So it's all our opinions, and we all got them. That's the beauty of sports discussions. We get to discuss our opinions. Some people will agree with you. Some people will agree with me. So I completely get it. So we're going to use – I cannot do this. We're going to use one offseason to say Hakeem ain't the best. I don't know if Hakeem is the best or not. We'll see, though. Shout out to my man BJ with the $20 dono. He says, salute Polk to everyone in here tonight. Thanks for the show. Thank God. Only 2 months. Hey, we getting close, bro. We getting close. I appreciate you, VJ. I appreciate you wholeheartedly. And, hey, we ain't did this one in a minute.
Come on. Come on.
Turn the light on. Hey.
I'm coming.
Bitch, be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down.
From everything I'm hearing, he's impressing. He's from everything I'm hearing, Dustin Hill might be ahead of the curve. I still don't have any expectation. I'm not going to change my stance. It doesn't mean I don't think he's a good player or won't be a good player. Just year one, I don't have an expectation for Dustin Hill. If he shows up and balls out, that is a huge plus for Florida State. I just don't have an expectation for it. But I'm so far hearing some good things in this off season. Was Julian who? Armella? No, Julian was a 4-star. But I think Rivals had him as a 5-star. Again, one of those, different what you call it, had him at different spots. But I think consensus he was a 4-star. Irv with the $10. He says, keep up the great. Hey man, I try. I'm just out here talking. I'm just out here talking sports. That's the whole reason why I started this channel. And if you like to sit here and talk sports with me, man, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're just viewing me for the first time, and continue to share the videos, man. But this is what I do. Come out here, we talk a little bit of facts, and then I just tell you a bunch of opinions, and we argue back and forth. I say this all the time. This is the most interactive show on YouTube when it comes to college football. I don't sit here and talk to y'all for 2 hours. I engage with y'all for 2 hours, and I enjoy it, which is why I do it, man. Shout out to you, Irv. I appreciate the $10. Let's do some more. Well, I know, Irv, you want some P-dubs, so I got you, Irv.
Yeah, more money. Yeah, more money.
But he's Dustin Hill's technically a freshman, Galaxy. Don't do that. I know he's 30, but he a freshman. He got 4 years of eligibility. He's a true freshman. Don't hate, appreciate. It's getting really hard not to drown in all this Kool-Aid. The slow rollout of the 24 class is the only thing keeping me from telling every damn lie. I think the 24 class is going to finish very well, though. I think one of the problems with Florida State fans is we looked at Florida had a huge June. Can't even cap. Can't even lie. Florida had a great – they closed June strong in recruiting. They're like number 3 in the country right now. And I think that made all the Florida State fans go, well, what the hell is going on here? Just be careful and be patient because July is about to come up. And I think we get a bulk of these guys that we went over tonight. So I not only from Trey and Jordan, but just from what you hear from the Word Chants and the other outlets, media outlets, people are saying Dustin Hill looks like the real deal. But he never came to college, though. So he never used a year of eligibility. It was, I think it was 19 or 20 Dustin Hill came, right? No, 2021 Dustin Hill came out. Mr. Maurice says, thoughts on Lester? I think very high. I think Lester, I know you. I remember you. You're the Dion guy. So I already know where you're going with this, Mr. Maurice. Mark my words. He doesn't end up in Colorado. I'll tell you that much. He's coming to Florida State. Does Boise, Cincy, etc. survive a P5 schedule to even make the playoff, let alone win the Natty? Stars matter. He was 17 when he graduated. They say Dustin Hill's only like 19. He's got to be 30 in my book. But anyway, he's a freshman. I don't care how old he is. He's got 4 years of eligibility. Jacobs was a 4-star. Yeah, I know. That's a Dion guy, y'all. He thought he was going to catch me slipping. I know. I remember him. I'm not worried about Lester going to Colorado. I knew where he was coming. When he asked that question, I knew where he was going. I called him red-handed. Ricky commit tomorrow. I think it's Miami, though, but will come down to us and y'all. I think we get Ricky. But I've heard that Miami's also pushing for him. The reason I think we get Ricky, and again, this might not be no correlation, Galaxy. Y'all just took a DB. Now, I don't know how many DBs y'all plan on taking this class. But y'all just took a DB tonight. Might not have any correlation, right? I'm not a Miami fan, so it probably doesn't. But you've got 3 safeties already. 4 safety. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 DBs, 4 safeties in a corner already committed to that class. I think he's a Seminole. Can't get one over on me, Mr. Maurice. I know you tried, but you can't get one over on me. I have a solid memory. I might not remember all the names, but I remember y'all profile pictures. What's going on, Island Boy? Miami just took 2 DBs in the last week. Yeah, that's my point. Again, might not be a correlation, right? I'm just saying. Might not be a correlation, but it's interesting. Again, you have 5 DBs. If I'm counting right, safeties, corners, so I'm just going to classify them as DBs. You already have 5 DBs committed. I don't know Miami's strategy in DB recruiting and who y'all are taking. I just feel like if Ricky Knight is the guy you're going to get tomorrow, why do you accept this commitment tonight? And Mario retweeted the commitment. So obviously, I don't know. A little weird to me. Unless you're telling me you're recruiting Ricky Knight at something else other than DB. He is listed as an athlete. I think that's Florida State. I think Ricky's Florida State. I think Dede Holmes, Florida State. I think we get both tomorrow. I hear you. But I'm going to stick with my Florida State prediction on that. But I agree with you. It comes down to Florida State and Miami battle. And we had the two hour mark. So y'all let me know if y'all got what y'all want to do. Y'all want to continue? If y'all want to continue going, let me know. I need to refill my cup. But if y'all want to say, you know what, we hit all the hot spots. We can cut it short. We can do that too. I'll let y'all decide that. I'm doing pretty good, so I ain't tripping. We have the most delusional fan base on the planet Earth to deal with already, though. Can't take no more of it. I didn't know you were a Miami fan, Miss Maurice Loveless. You're a Miami fan? Did anybody else know that Maurice was a Miami fan? Because I swore to God this whole time I did not know that. I did not know that. Oh, you're talking about... Oh, well, you said we have the most delusional fan base on the planet Earth to deal with already, though, man. Then you quotation mark. When you said we, I thought you were like including yourself. Okay. I'm confused with the way you worded that. Maybe I'm wrong. Obviously, you say you're not a Miami fan, but you worded it in a way that I thought you were a Miami fan. Am I tripping or am I drunk? I'm not drunk. I know I'm not drunk. So he worded that wrong. Here, y'all read this and tell me I'm tripping. At Mr. Maurice. So he's talking directly to Mr. Maurice. We have the most delusional fan base on the planet Earth to deal with already, though. Miami. Can't take no more. Unless you're saying so I think you're saying as a Florida State fan, we deal with Miami fans. I think that's what you're saying. Okay. Maybe I'm drinking a little too much. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping, bro. Maybe I'm tripping. I read it wrong. Okay, I read it wrong. That's fine. I read it wrong. I don't think I read it wrong, but I can see it now that I reread it, what he was saying. But if you first glance at that, when he says we have the most delusional fan base to deal with, I think No, I'm not on no painting. I'm on here. I'll show y'all. Give me 1 second. Honey melon Ciroc. I didn't buy this. Somebody bought this for me. I don't really drink Ciroc, but it has a very smooth taste to it. Somebody bought it for me, so I said, you know what? I'll indulge. It's not bad. It's not very sweet, but it's also not. It's solid. It's solid. Yeah, I don't know how new it is. Somebody bought this for me like a month ago, but solid. It's something that it's definitely something you can sip on. It's not as sweet as like a peach crown, but it ain't like gonna burn your throat on the way down either. Solid. Galaxy says you deal with Miami fans because you in-state and we play every year. I know I'm just talking trash. I actually like that we have two big-time rivals every year. It makes it more interesting. I drink it straight. I don't really chase. Okay, the car fell off. I don't really chase my. You see, I'm just drinking it straight. I don't really chase my alcohol. Only thing I chase is, I don't know if you all see that pure white behind me. I'll chase that because that shit will burn you up. And even that won't be a lot of chaser. It'll be a dash or some stuff. I'm not alcoholic, but don't drink. I like to drink my. I like to taste my liquor. I like to taste my liquor. I'll say that much. Smoke something. Maybe one day when I get out this government job, maybe one day. But for now, I got too much invested. I got 7 more years. Insane. Give me 7 more years and I'll light one up. I got 7 years and I'm out of the government's clutches, so to speak. Mr. Maurice says, Canes fan to the heart, but Dion follower. Don't forget, we still own FSU record-wise. Congratulations for everything you've done in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I want you to check the modern day record and you tell me who's leading that. When I say modern day, I'm talking everything from the 80s and on. And again, y'all hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we're going on 2 hours strong, so keep it up. Do you think, Tyler came up with a question. Do you think two-sport athletes are usually better football? Tyler, what's your Twitter handle, bro? You're on Twitter, bro. You're on Twitter because this was a huge conversation on Twitter this past week. So you're on Twitter, Tyler. I just don't know what your Twitter name is. You're incognito. You got to be on Twitter because that was a huge Twitter topic, and I'll talk about it. So the huge debate on Twitter was this past week is, are football players the best athletes in sports? I will preface my comments by saying football players are tremendous athletes. I just don't think I think athlete I'm off the grid. Yeah, okay. I think personally, of course, every sport requires a different skill set, right? I think basketball players are the best athletes in the world because I believe athletics also, when we speak athletic ability, what makes you athletically superior is genetics. Basketball players are freakish people. Have any of y'all ever seen like a real basketball player? Like the first time I ever saw a real basketball player, like a college level D1 athlete, they look freaky. Their torsos are extremely long. Of course, they've got extremely long. 6'7", 6'8", 9". Am I back? The video froze on me. Okay, I think I'm back. I froze there for a second. Am I back, y'all? I think I'm back. But back to what I was saying. I think I'm back. Let me double check. I'm a little blurry, but looks like I'm back. Okay. Yeah, man, basketball players are just freaky athletes. So for me, it's like when you start talking genetics and actually how people are built, like people are like, well, so a video came out today of Jalen Ramsey like hooping and he's dunking, he's doing all those great things, and that's awesome. But you know what else started today? NBA free agency started today. Do you think of Jalen Ramsey? I want you to go look at what these NBA players are making. They're making the type of money that franchise quarterbacks are talking about trying to make, that they're fighting for, not the elite players. Jeremiah Grant just cashed in $160 million. Frank Van Fleet just put in $130 million 3-year contract, bro. Come on. Do you think if Jalen Ramsey could play basketball at that level, he'd be getting non-guaranteed contracts in the NFL? No, he wouldn't. he'd be getting all guaranteed 130 mil of his money in the NBA. There's a reason, and I hate to say this because I talk football. Football is my favorite sport. Of course, I respect these brothers. But if they could play baseball, if they could play basketball at that level, the money's too great to pick football over those other sports. Unfortunately, a lot of them, and I said this on Twitter, you're a great high school point guard at 6 foot. That 6 foot point guard, once he gets to college, ain't the same. That 6 foot DB at college, well, now he's one of the bigger players at his position. There's a difference. The better athletes are just basketball players. You can't, I say this all the time, bruh. Show me Shaq in the NBA. Excuse me, in the NFL. Show me 7 foot, can run 90 feet, jump out the. Shaq doesn't exist in the NFL. Now you can talk about the Julius Peppers, and you talk about all these guys, great athletes. Check the basketball resume. I think Julius Peppers couldn't get 5 rebounds in college ball at North Carolina. But we think he's a better athlete. I just don't believe it. I think basketball players are the best athletes in sports. And genetics have a part of that. It doesn't mean football players aren't great athletes. But 6'8" LeBron James could have played any sport he wanted to. He chose basketball. I think LeBron James had, of course, with the right training, LeBron James could have been the heavyweight champ of the world in boxing at that size. Easy. I don't know who in a football field is like built like LeBron, built like a Shaq. Seth Curry is considered a small point guard. Seth Curry's 6'3". Seth Curry would be one of the bigger wide receivers in the NFL, period. Like, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about when we talk about the athletics of basketball and football. A small NBA point guard would be one of the biggest NFL wide receivers. Y'all look at Steph Curry on TV and think he's small. And the only reason you think he's small is because he's surrounded by a bunch of 6'7" freaks. If he was on a football field, he'd think, damn, that's a big wide receiver. What y'all think in the chat? Timmy says, what's your thoughts on Derek LeBlanc going to UCF over OU without playing a snap of live football? I think there's a reason. I don't know. I don't really have a take on it. I'm not even going to lie to you, man. Do I like Dede Holmes? I like his size. I like 6'6", 250. You'll never get me to say anything about that. We need him. He's a 4-star. We need him. So, yeah, I like him. What do you think about the Gus Malzahn said about the Big Three conversation? I think Gus Malzahn, for one, he's doing his job in promoting his team and his brand, but he needs to go sit in the corner. UCF claims a championship that they didn't win, and I don't even understand that. They still claim that thing. They legitimately claim that 2017 Natty. They need to go sit in the corner somewhere. There's only a Big Three. I'm not saying there can never be a Big Four, but win something, really win something, and then we'll have the Big Four conversation. Damien says, we sleep on soccer players, but I've seen more predominantly football players in the NBA than I've seen basketball players in the NFL. Well, you're right. I mean, I can think of Nate Robinson. He played football. Obviously, Charlie Ward's the big one, right? Won the Heisman and then went on to have a good career as an NBA point guard. I'm probably missing somebody, but I mean, Allen Iverson. Go watch how he played football in high school. He went on to the NBA. So it's just different. It's just different depending on the player. But I would say Nate Robinson and guys like that, they were smart for choosing the NBA over football. If I was an NBA player, there's no way I would never pick the NFL over the NBA. But I think that's kind of where that gets a little skewed when you say you see more football players go to NBA. Because if I'm an NBA player, what incentive would I ever go play football? If I could legit play both sports, there's a reason why you always see the football player go to the NBA. Nate Robinson, Charlie Ward had a different situation, but Nate Robinson, Charlie Ward, Allen Iverson. There's some other guys that I'm probably forgetting, but there's a reason. And you'll never see the basketball player go to the NFL. Not a legit basketball player, not a guy that can actually play in the NBA, because money's not guaranteed. You mean tell me I'm gonna go to the NFL, get paid less, have a chance of get paid less, higher chance of injury, and the money's not guaranteed when I can go to the NBA? No, not a contact sport. Even if I blow a knee out, my $30 million or whatever I'm getting is completely guaranteed. It's an easy pick. And Joshua's got a great point. Jimmy Graham, you talk about Jimmy Graham, Antonio Gates, guys that never even played a down of football and then went on to be like some of the greats of their era. You will never see that in basketball. You will never see a guy, I don't care who, how tall or big, that doesn't pick up a basketball to his 12th to his senior year of high school and go on to be one of the best power forwards of all time. You'll never see it. Won't happen. Different, higher degree of skill that takes to play basketball, I believe. You just won't see it. Jimmy Graham and Antonio Gates are two perfect examples of guys who did not play the sport in high school or college and went on to be some of the best ever to do it. Charles Barkley thought that's not the same as Charles Barkley clearly said he didn't want to get hit. And I get that. Some people pick basketball if they don't want to get hit. Getting hit and not being able to play is two totally different things. Again, if you can play the NBA, you would play in the NBA. You would do it. If I'm Charles Barkley, why the hell would I play football when the money's not guaranteed? Higher degree of injury. Or I can play this game and I'm just as good, if not better, at this game. So I just, never seen a fan base take an L over an undefeated season, but shout out to UCF. Charlie Ward is another example of all-star player, mid-basketball player, all-star football player, mid-basketball player. In what order do 4 teams, FSU, UF, Miami, UF, next make playoffs? But you got to remember now, we're going to a 12-team playoff. So I've said this. If Mike Norvell is who we think he is, there's basically no excuse for Florida State to never not make 2 double negatives there. But there's no excuse for Florida State to not be in the playoff, in the 12-team playoff year in and year out. Can you think of any reason Florida State with the ACC schedule should not be in the playoff? Now, granted, every year is different. You're telling me, let's say in a 10-year stretch, you missed the playoff a couple years, that's feasible. But majority-wise, Florida State should be in the playoff every single year in the 10-team playoff. UF is going to have a hard time. And this isn't even me shitting on UF. Have y'all not seen the schedules of these SEC teams once Texas and OU join them? Shout out to the SEC, man. I'm not a conference pumper. I can care less about the ACC. As far as I'm concerned, I wish the ACC would burn up and go in flames tomorrow. But as an SEC guy, if you're an SEC guy, yeah, those schedules are absolutely insane. You're talking about, go look at Florida's schedule in 24-25 is Miami, Florida State. I think they play Texas, Georgia, LSU, like, bro, that's insane, right? That's insane. UF has a tough climb. UF has a tough climb to the playoff. I'm not even going to lie to you. Miami's in the same boat as Florida State. If Mario Cristobal is who Miami fans say he is, you're playing the ACC schedule. You got a couple hard out-of-conference games depending on what you schedule. So you got to know you got Florida coming up here in a couple years. Miami should, if Mario is who they say that he is, you should be a 10-win team almost yearly. If Mario is who he says he is. You play in the ACC. Not extremely tough. Outside of Florida State, and I don't know, maybe Clemson. I don't even know Miami's not going to play Clemson every year, I'm sure. So outside of Florida State, who do you play? Oh, you better be able to get over the North Carolina hump. But outside of that, who do you play, right? So Miami, Florida State, in my opinion, have the best chances of getting to the playoff. The problem with UCF is I think the Big 12 is going to become like the American Conference. The Big 12 losing Texas and Oklahoma basically takes any validation out of that conference. You know, TCU makes the college football playoff because they beat those teams. If you take those teams out of the Big 12, who the hell is UCF playing? I don't care if UCF goes undefeated in the Big 12. Who did you play? Texas Tech? Who'd you play? Iowa State? Kansas? Like, who'd you play? So, for me, it's got to be Florida State and Miami have the better chance. And that's just that's based on schedule. And I like how you capitalize FSU and lowercase UF in Miami. And, of course, UCF's not a rival, so you didn't have a problem capitalizing UCF. A real legit football is built different, much more muscular. Well, obviously, because they're asked to do two different things, Champ 99. Come on now. What are we talking about? Of course, football players are built differently than basketball players. But, again, I'm just speaking of strictly genetics. 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 40-inch verts. I mean, who do you think jumps the highest in the NFL? I'm sure there's some high jumpers in the NFL. What do you think the average vertical is for your top-tier wide receiver in the NFL? 30-something inches? Probably. What do you think that, what do you think Dinwiddie is jumping? And Dinwiddie in the combine. Now, you're talking about a run-of-the-mill two-guard in the NBA. 40-inch vert. That's the average player in the NBA. That's run-of-the-mill two-guard in the NBA, 40-inch vert. And talk about Dinwiddie. We're not even talking about Zach LaVine and those guys. We're talking about the average run-of-the-mill two-guard in the NBA. 40-inch vertical. The average wide receiver, for instance, Randy Moss. I think Randy Moss had a 34-inch vert, 36-inch vert, something like that. He can jump, but not 40. What's Zach LaVine? 44, 45? It's different, bro. It's just different, and it's okay. Football players are extremely good at doing what they do. And so are basketball players good at doing what they do. And guess what? Neither one of them can hit a baseball at 99 miles an hour. So you can have a whole different conversation about baseball players. It's going to be hell across the board. I got to be honest with you guys. It's coming from a Florida State fan. Whoever wins the SEC year in and year out from going forward, they're going to be the favorite. And here's the good thing, though. Well, I don't know if it's a good thing, but here's the interesting thing. And they might be so beat up by the time they hit the playoff. It wouldn't shock me if SEC teams take a little bit of a dive when we start talking about once the playoffs start in a 12-team playoff. They're going to be there's a chance that they're so beat up by the time the playoffs start. But if you get out of that schedule, you got to be the favorite. But there's a good chance that once they get into the playoff, I mean, at some point they're going to hit a wall. It's going to be interesting to see how this 12-team playoff plays out. being taller doesn't make you a better athlete. I didn't say it does, but being bigger, faster, stronger does. So for instance, here's my point. LeBron 6'8", 250, probably ran in the 4.5 range. We never really got a real legit 40 time from LeBron James. 4.5-ish. Michael Jordan was 6'6", 200. Allegedly ran a 4.4 in North Carolina. That's Megatron size. Megatron is an anomaly in the NFL. Show me another 6'6", 220 plus, 30 plus receiver in the NFL other than Megatron that was running in the 4.4, 4.3s. Megatron's the anomaly. I'm not saying Michael Jordan's not an anomaly. He's the greatest basketball player ever, right? But I just mentioned Dimwitty. Same measurables as Michael Jordan. Again, 40-inch vert. And he's the average run-of-the-mill NBA player in today's game. So being taller doesn't make you a better athlete, but your genetics do. So if I'm taller, bigger, and faster, then yeah, I'm a better athlete. Highest NFL history is 45. Highest in NBA history is 48. Now, ask this. Those are the two extremes. But obviously, the NBA has a higher vert, right? What do you think the mean is? If you took the average in the NBA and the average, what do you think that is? I don't know. I'm just asking. Probably, obviously, it points in the direction of the NBA. Listen, guys, football is my favorite sport. I'm just telling you how I feel. I think NBA players are insane. I think they are built differently. I think, put it like this, I've seen professional football players. I've seen college football players. I don't want to say they don't look like athletes because they absolutely do, especially depending on the position. But the point is, the average human being is 5'9". Average human male, is 5'9", 5'10". There's a lot of 5'9", 5'10" NFL players, college football players. You have to be exceptional in basketball if you're that height. You are not going to make it in basketball at 5'10". You're going to have the craziest handle and the craziest shots ever to make it in basketball. You can say height doesn't make you a better athlete. Measurables do make you a better athlete, though. If you're bigger, faster, and stronger, you are a better athlete. And the only thing you can argue about NFL players is that they're obviously stronger than NBA players from the standpoint of they're asked to do something different. Basketball is more of a game of skill. Football is more of a game of will, especially when you start talking about the trenches. That is all about a game of beating your man one-on-one. So I just think, from my personal experience, I think football is more accessible than basketball. I think I've seen a lot of football players can't dribble a ball 20 feet down a court. Dribbling a ball is so much harder than people give that credit for. I've seen plenty of football players who are killing on a football field. Can't even dribble a ball past half court without somebody ripping them or them losing the dribble and then going out of bounds. You might be surprised. Football players are not every football player. We pick certain wide receivers and certain corners and go, yeah, that guy could play basketball. And not all y'all ever seen not all of these guys can do it is the point. So I'm just saying. What's up, Kerry? That's the reason too many SEC running backs don't pan. That's true too. Well, that's probably true. Running backs have a finite amount of hits, so I hear you on that. He has a point. NBA players are wild, but we don't see it because guys like LeBron and Giannis make everything else look average. But they are, yeah. Giannis, I didn't even mention Giannis. Giannis is 6'11". Giannis is a Greek freak for a reason. Like a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo. Like we see him on TV all the time, but we don't even really grasp. This man is 7 foot, runs like a gazelle, can jump from the free, like a guy like Giannis is insane. As a Miami fan, FSU's 26 schedule is just as hard as UF's 24. It's nuts. I didn't even look that far, bro. I don't even know who we play in 26. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even look that far. At the NBA Combine, the highest standing vertical jump is 38 by Harrison Barnes. 18 players from the NFL Combine had higher standing vertical jumps than 38 inches. I don't care. I said what I said. What is the average 40? I don't know. NBA players can't take. Of course they can't. They're not asked to take it. NBA players can't take an NFL hit. NFL players can't shoot the three. What are we talking about? They're asked to do two different things. Giannis isn't the exception because there was a guy named Shaquille O'Neal who was 7'2", doing exactly what you see Giannis do right now, and he was doing that in the 90s. Giannis isn't the exception. Oh, by the way, Wilt Chamberlain, what was he? He was a long jump guy. Bill Russell. This isn't the exception. These guys have been around for decades. Not the exception at all. We're looking at what football players are asked to do, and we're saying, well, a basketball player couldn't do that. Well, no shit. Floyd Mayweather couldn't get in the octagon. That doesn't mean that a UFC fighter is a better fighter than Floyd Mayweather. Matter of fact, you see all the UFC guys get in the boxing ring and get their ass whooped over and over and over again. Because it is what it is. We're implying different skill sets. Way different skill sets. Oh, an NBA player can't take an NFL hit. Of course they can't. They ain't been doing it. They ain't trained to do it. They ain't trying to do it. Ask an NFL player to dribble and pull from half court like Steph Curry. You won't see it. Okay, NFL players dunk, sure. Ask an NFL player to jump from the free throw line. You won't see it like Dr. J. So when we get into the particulars of each sport, I can name a bunch of stuff that NFL players can't do and NBA players can do, and vice versa. It's absolutely hilarious. Draymond Green was absolutely terrible at football. That's a crazy schedule. Notre Dame, Florida, Bama, Miami, Clemson. God damn. Hey, Mike, you better be ready for 12. What year is that? 26? Man, Mike, you better be ready for that. Holy shit. I ain't worried about Florida. I ain't worried about Miami. But Clemson, Bama, and Notre Dame? Don't even matter, man, because he's a strider. But again, we're just asking guys to do two different things and skill sets. I think raw athleticism, I think basketball players got it because I think size matters. Well, that's fair. I just think raw athleticism leans towards NBA players. But you make a great point when you start talking about, when you start asking what individuals do. But see, you can have this talk about a bunch of sports, because a lot of people don't consider NASCAR drivers athletes. But when you listen to what those guys go through sitting in a car for a gazillion hours at temperatures that a lot of us have never experienced, unless you've been to Iraq or Kuwait like I have. Like, you talk about 120 degrees in a car, and you got to sit there for, I don't know, 20 hours or whatever, how long, it's ridiculous, right? There's some athletics, there's something that goes to that the average person can't drive cars, right? The average person can't shoot a basketball at an elite level, can't play football at an elite level, can't fight at an elite level. Like a lot of people think they can fight. Go watch a boxing or a UFC match. Forget about forget about what you see guys doing offensively. Watch guys actually take a punch. How many of y'all can actually take a punch? Not one punch, but multiple punches in your face before you say, fuck this shit. I'm not like, that's what makes these people special. We can say that about every sport, right? So at the end of the day, we're just having a blanket conversation about football and basketball or whatever sport. I think every sport, these are the elite of the elite, bro. Whether it's tennis, golf, the average person can't do this stuff. You think you can do it until you're asked to do it. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I can't theoretically. Can you say any athlete's better than any athlete? No, because they're all asked to do vastly different things. I mean, Michael Phelps has a case of being the greatest male athlete ever. Because swimming, in my opinion, is one of the most insane things to do. I don't know how many of you have ever tried to swim, because I have tried to swim, like swim, not just get in the pool and like float. That is not. Most of us will swim a lap and be done if we even make the lap. I'm telling you, man, swimming is an insane thing to do itself. So you can go down the list of insane sports. Michael Phelps I probably appreciate Michael Phelps more than most because swimming is not a joke. Water is not a joke. Dave Winfield was a great basketball player even better baseball player. Athletes are just that athlete. And that's a good point too. I mean, great. I mean, Deion, Bo Jackson. I mean, some guys are transcendent, right? And they can do it all. They can do it all. I think we get Ricky Knight. Yes, Carrie. What do you think is the hardest championship to win? NBA Finals, Super Bowl, World Series. It's got to be the Finals or the World Series. Anytime 7-game series. But the Super Bowl is interesting because it's one game, you can get that fluke game. You can get the Giants versus the Patriots, right? But I think multiple games taking the toll on you, having to make adjustments game after game. What worked last game might not work the next game. I would say be one of those 7-game series. You can pick between the World Series or the NBA. I would go probably World Series. Because baseball's a little bit more diverse, right? NBA Finals, when you come to the NBA, you're always going to lean towards the team with the best player. So this past NBA Finals, you had Jokic in Miami. I think everybody knew Denver was going to get it done. When you have a Jordan, he's always going to be the favorite. LeBron's always going to be the favorite, even though he don't always produce as the favorite. But that's a whole nother conversation that I don't want to trigger LeBron fans. NBA best player. In the NBA, the best player dictates what happens. I mean, if you are that guy in the NBA, if you're Kobe Bryant, if you're LeBron James, if you're Michael Jordan, if you're Steph Curry, you dictate. Those guys will always be the favorite. World Series, baseball, probably a little bit more team-oriented, obviously. Got the bullpen to rely on. Pitching is huge in the World Series, you know. And then the Super Bowl, any given Sunday is the term for a reason. Like, that's the beautiful thing about football. Beautiful thing that I love about football is any game. There's a reason why football, it does all of this. You can be the Jaguars one year and then you could be making the playoffs as the Jaguars. Like, football does this, right? Anybody can get it, basically. Norvell Central saying that 4-star Dede more trending towards nose. He's everybody's crystal. Dede Holmes. You're talking about Dede Holmes, not Dede Moore. But Dede Holmes has been crystal balled by almost every outlet to Florida State. And he announces tomorrow. And I think Dede Holmes also will be a Seminole tomorrow. Good point. But I think it kind of, you make a great point, but I think it kind of balances out to the point that I'm making. Just like you say, well, not a lot of teams repeat, but also any team can get there. So you get what I'm saying, Maurice? Or Mary? Is Maurice or Marius? Shit, I don't know. But you get what I'm saying, though? Like, you make a great point. There aren't a lot of back-to-back football champions, but also there's teams that come out of nowhere. I mean, remember the Arizona Cardinals went to the Super Bowl. Teams come out of nowhere also in the NFL and can win it. We can win it all out of nowhere. So I think it's a catch-22 right there. Again, you're making a great point. I think that I think there's two arguments to that. The same way you say like there's a bunch of different Super Bowl champions, and there's not really like what the Patriots have 6, Steelers have 6, like the Cowboys have 6. I think Green Bay has 6. That argument is fair. But then how many teams have 1? And the Bucks have 2. The Rams have 1. Like the Broncos, you can damn near go down every team in the NFL and say they all have one of the Ravens. The Cleveland Browns have Super Bowls, right? And they might be from a long time ago, but they got them. The Jets, the Giants, the Cowboys, obviously, the Redskins, the Chiefs, the Raiders. You can damn near go down every NFL team and go, damn, they all got Super Bowls. I think the only ones that don't have Super Bowls are what? The Bills. And some of those expansion teams from the 90s, Jacksonville, obviously, the Bills, Carolina. Everybody else got Super Bowls, bro. Who am I missing that? The Dolphins have won a Super Bowl. Bro, everybody got Super Bowls except for like those teams. So that's kind of my point. Like, I get exactly what you're saying, and you're not wrong. But to my point as well, I think you can understand what I'm saying. Damn near every NFL franchise has at least one Super Bowl, except for like the expansion teams that came around in the 90s, and the Bills, and the Cardinals. Right? I don't think the Cardinals have one. So that's 4 teams: the Cardinals, the Bills, the Panthers, the Jaguars. Everybody else got a Super Bowl, bro. Am I tripping? The Vikings and the Lions. The Lions have always sucked. So out of 32 teams, 6 don't have Super Bowls? Oh, okay. The Browns don't have one. They have the old NFL World Championships. Okay, that's fair. Okay, 7. So 8 teams. So we've named 8 teams out of 32. The Titans. I forgot about the Titans. Okay, 9. Y'all keep them coming. 9 teams don't have championships. Anybody else? The Bengals, the Titans, the Vikings, the Browns, the Lions, the Bills, Panthers, Jaguars. Damn, the Chargers don't have one? Fair enough. 10 out of 32. You got anybody else? Let's keep it going. Prove me wrong. Because I think if we go to the NBA, obviously you got, I think we can name a bunch of, fucking Falcons. Falcons should have one. Sorry ass Falcons. I forgot about them. So that's 11. We got 11 so far. How many NBA teams? Let's see. How many NBA teams? The Magic, they were an expansion team. The Texans are an expansion team. Okay, the Texans, even though they used to be the Houston Oilers. I already named the Panthers. So we got 12 teams so far. In the NBA, we got the Magic. I think Sacramento might. NBA is so weird. In the NBA, we got 12. I already named the Cardinals. And you say NBA's got 12. Okay. So, oh shit, they're even. That's crazy. And football's been playing what for 100 years. But to your point, no, the Commanders, they used to be the Redskins, so the Commanders have one. The Commanders have it. They have what the Redskins have what two Super Bowls or something like that. That's a good conversation to have. I probably lean towards baseball though. I think, and I get it, but and I'm a Yankee fan. You know, I don't really talk a lot of baseball, but I'm a Yankee fan, right? But man, the Yankees won a bunch of World Series when Negroes couldn't even drink out of the same water fountain, bro. I don't count those. I'm very consistent when I start talking about sports. If all your championships predate integration, you don't really get a lot of credit from me. And as a Yankee fan, I'm saying that. None of that. But now, as a Yankee fan, I will also say they still have the most World Series championships after integration, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, the Nuggets, they just won. So, at the end of the day, Yankees are still like the standard. But although that 30, what was 20, how many world pennants do the Yankees have? Whatever that number is, everything before integration don't count. The thing is, Yankees still have the most after integration too, which is why they're the evil empire. But I would say baseball, baseball's great. Baseball is probably the hardest championship to win for sure. You guys made a great point with basketball and football. How basketball and football is almost even in terms of championships. Only 6 current MLB teams have never won. So you can make the case that but baseball's also been played it's America's greatest. Baseball's been played longer than every sport, right? And again, to that point, Tyler, how many of those MLB teams won a bunch of pennants pre-integration? Right, when San Francisco Giants, when they were the New York Giants, the Dodgers, when they were the Brooklyn Dodgers, right? So baseball's got a century of baseball's been played longer than all those other sports. Yeah, Princeton. Absolutely. I'm anything that's before integration, I don't count, bro. If you count it, good for you. I don't. If you wasn't playing against the Negroes, you don't get credit from me because look, we can call a spade. No pun intended. Once blacks was able to play professional sports, the paradigm shift in terms of athletics, and you saw the difference, right? So it just is what it is. I didn't say so. I got in trouble for this on Twitter. I'm not calling Babe Ruth mid. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of talk that Babe Ruth is half black. I got in trouble for this on Twitter because I said Babe Ruth was, and I was joking, right? But I was like, Babe Ruth was saying the N-word in the 30s and 20s. And then everybody was like, you ain't know that Babe Ruth was half black? And it was like, I was like, they was cooking me, right? But I stand by what I said. He never came out and said he was black. But there's a big controversy on whether or not Babe Ruth was half black and all that good stuff. So no, I'm not calling Babe Ruth mid. And there's a lot of talk that Babe Ruth was half black. But I mean, it is what it is. If we just being honest, I'm not saying he's mid. And I've heard this. There are people saying that this guy will go down as the best player ever. And he's what is he, Japanese, right, Tyler? Yeah, I was saying. The MLB has that insane head start over everybody. Alabama's similar to the Yankees, though. Okay, if you want to do that, let's take away all of the chips Bama had before civil rights. They still got probably the most natties since. Well, how many rings Saban era alone? And then forget, Bama won one in 92 or 91. Bama won the national championship. Like, Bama still got it. Yep. You know, like, Bama still got it. This is the first you're hearing? Am I the only person? Help me out here. Am I the only one that has heard that Babe Ruth is half black? I know I'm not the only one that heard this. At the time, I was like, okay. Just because y'all want to talk about he is allegedly. It never was confirmed. He never came out and said it. And there's all this controversy around it. That is, I think his mom stepped out on his dad. There's a lot of controversy around Babe Ruth being half black. But apparently his teammates would call him the N-word there's a lot of things there. Am I the only one that's ever heard this, bro? Because apparently everybody on Twitter heard it, because I got blasted on Twitter for talking about Babe Ruth and how I just wasn't like, okay, if he was black, he never came out. I know I'm not the only one in this chat of 43 people. And I know we're going on 3 hours. And we're hitting late time, but I know I'm not the only one that has ever heard this before. That Babe Ruth may have been half black. Again, not confirmed. But if you look at his facial, here's the thing: there's something there. You look at his facial features. You look at Babe Ruth, his facial features. He had a wide nose. He had some lips. I know I'm not the only person that's ever heard this controversy before. Maurice said he's heard it before. Damien said he's also heard it. Okay, I just want to be clear that, like, I'll let y'all know that I'm not making this. There's a video on it. There you go. I'm not making this up. So there is like a thing. Yeah, I agree. If it is, it's dope. But at the same time, like, how dope is it really? Because he never came out. And I get it, right? It's the early 20s. And you coming out saying you're black might have not been the greatest thing to do. Yeah, like Tyler says, he would have had every reason to hide it for sure. One of his teammates called him N something. I forget the term. Apparently he loved the Negro League players. But again, none of this stuff is confirmed. It's a conspiracy. It's essentially just a huge rumor, but it's not confirmed. So the people that stand by it, they don't have really anything to stand on. But it's legit conversation is the point. When you give your record prediction for the season, or perhaps a game by, I've already given like a slight record prediction. If you recall, if you go back to the Keon Coleman video, I pretty much said I think he gave us a win. And I'm looking at 10-2, 11-1. I haven't quite picked. I mean, it's July. I don't really think I need to pick right now. But I'm leaning towards 11-1, 10-2, one of those two. But we can definitely do a game by game rundown. I'm trying. So I'll fill y'all in, but I haven't got any real feedback on this. I want to do a panel. I'm not going to be available in August, just to let y'all know right now. In August, I'll be in the desert in California, dying, training, doing stupid stuff. So I won't be making any videos in the month of August. By the time I get out of there, Labor Day weekend will be right on upon us. I'm trying to go straight from the desert to Florida. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that move, but that's the plan as of right now. I'm going straight from the desert to Orlando to party with the fellas in Orlando against LSU. So what I'm trying to do in July, I'm trying to get a panel. I want to get some of your favorite guys, like content creators, your podcasts. I want to get those people all on the channel, and we can do a game by game. We can do, but I'm trying to get, the Norvell Centrals, Sporadics. I've even reached out to CJ from Roll Up, but he hasn't reached back out to me. I'm trying to get I remember I did this before, or tried to do it before, and we got a pretty decent. TJ's definitely not coming on. Jerk. I hate you. No, TJ's not coming on here. But I'm trying to get some of you guys' favorite guy. And I kind of did this before when I did like an 8-hour live stream or something like that. Where I brought on it. It's not going to be no 8-hour thing, but I just want to get everybody on at the same time and do a panel. I'm just trying to get people to respond to me. That's the biggest problem with sometimes trying to do this stuff, is getting people to respond. If they don't respond, I'll just use the guys that did respond. So y'all guys remember Kelvin from the Chop Chat and Built from Playmakers podcast. He's agreed. Chris will do it from Sporadics. I know Norvell Essential will get on here and some other guys. So I want to get a lot of these guys on here just to talk some ball. Anybody else, if they're interested, or if y'all can reach out to those people, by all means, reach out to them. Some people just don't respond to me. I know, I get it. I'm nobody. They probably don't even check their DMs. I don't know. Those that do respond, I'm going to try to get them on here, though. The hot seat, my boy, Smoke. I'm definitely not getting Aslan on here. I would get Corey on here or Ingram on here before I got Aslan on here, believe it or not. Actually, I would love to have like Ingram. Not Ingram. That's the no cast. Not Ingram. I would love to have Ingram on here too, by the way. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have Ingram on here. Not Ingram. Who's the old dude on the war chant, man? Ira. I would love to have Ira on here. I actually like Ira, believe it or not. Love to have Ira on. I know I've said some bad things about War Chant in the past, but it was deserved. But I would love to have Ira on here. And I would love to have Ingram on. Let him talk about Lynn. But these guys don't really respond to me. Believe me, War Chant I've never direct message, but people from the No Cast. I've had Logan on here before, actually. Logan was on here. Logan will probably do it again. Logan was on here a couple years ago. I had Logan on here, so I'm pretty sure Logan and Noles Game Day would show up if I asked. They didn't have a problem before. I don't know why they would have a problem again. I've reached out to Nolecast guys, and they told me no, and that's fine. I'm not knocking them. They just told me they couldn't do it, and it is what it is. Some of these guys I've reached out to, and they just told me no. Some guys don't respond to me, period. But believe me, all those guys you guys are mentioning, I've tried to collab with. Some respond, some don't. Some respond and just flat out tell me no, and that's fine too. But that's what I'm trying to do in the month of July. I'm trying to get some guys on here, and we can all talk ball. Some of your favorite guys. I'm trying to get some of your favorite guys on here and see if they'll talk some ball. That's kind of the plan. Double fries, 40 minutes of again, TJ's not coming on here. So you ain't got to worry about that. TJ's not coming on here. Jeff Cameron, the field. That would be dope. I would not mind having Jeff on here. I think me and Jeff would have a good back and forth. Definitely wouldn't mind having Jeff again, but I like Ira. I'll be honest with you. I like War Chant. My problem with War Chant has been for a bunch of seasoned vets in the journal industry, they make too many mistakes. That's my problem with War Chant. I like the individuals. I like a lot of you guys. I grew up listening to these guys. I remember War Chant was like the only game in town. My problem with War Chant, for guys that have been in the business for 20 years and longer, they do some things that I'm like, you should know better. That's my problem with War Chant. So I just call it like I see it. Big Game James will probably come on. I could reach out to Big Game James and get him on here. I'm pretty sure he'd come on. I've talked to James before, so I don't think he'd have a problem doing it. I could probably get him on for sure. I met James at the Oklahoma game. I think I could get him on here. So that's my goal though. In July, I'm trying to get a panel going, and we just gonna talk. It might be one of the situations where I just mediate and let everybody else talk and just bring up the topic. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to doing in the month of July. Seminoles Sideline 365 channel. I'm not even aware of that channel. I'll check them out though. I'll check them out, see what they're about. I gotta look at some of these guys. Some of these channels, man, they throw me off. But whoever y'all want to see, let me know, and I can try to get them on here for sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sam would do it. I could probably message Sam tomorrow, and he'd give me a yes or a no. But Sam, I talk more with Sam than I talk with Brandon, but I'm pretty sure Sam wouldn't have an issue. As a matter of fact, I think I already messaged Sam. So I could definitely get Listen Up on here. Again, I have more of a conversation with Sam than I have with Brandon. But I like both of those guys. I like what they do. I know there's a lot of Florida State channels out there, right? One thing I've always tried to do is try to get other people some shine, get them on here. I'm not saying I have a huge channel because I don't, but I don't have any issue with talking ball with all these guys. I try to. They're a smaller channel, but I really like their content, so they just might want to join you. I'm with it. I'm with it. Some of these guys I'm not aware of, so I don't know their stance on some of the stuff. But that I think that would make the live stream interesting, right? Some different, and that's the goal, to get some different takes, people coming from different. I used to do a lot of stuff on Mark Rogers' channel. The problem I had with doing Mark Rogers is my schedule. I don't have time to be on a set schedule. That's the issue that I run in. Because I get people that DM me and they want to do a lot of different collaborations and like, hey man, you should link up with these guys. I don't have an issue with it. My issue is my schedule is hectic. So when I think I have time, my schedule can change like that. So I think I'm free on a Tuesday, and Tuesday comes, and now I'm swamped. Because of that, it just makes it harder to tell people, hey, let's do something at this time, because I don't know when my schedule will change. So that's kind of the thing that kind of derailed the Mark Rogers thing. I used to be on his channel. I have a couple segments on that channel, Mark Rogers. If you go back and look like a year or so ago, me and Mark, I have a solid relationship with Mark. He has a good channel, does a lot of good stuff. I just couldn't keep my end of the deal. I couldn't show up every week and do the things that people wanted me to do. So that is my plan, Terrell. That is my plan. My plan is to try to get some of the channels that you guys are aware of, some of the channels that you guys may have never heard of. Some people that only have podcasts and don't really do the YouTube thing, but they podcast. My goal is to try to get everybody, or as much as I can, whether that, get them on here and we just talk ball for an hour and 30 minutes. Obviously, I won't be able to keep them for 3 hours like we did here tonight, but that's my goal. And I think that'd be a good way to break in the season. And you're going to get a lot of different takes. You're going to get a lot of different thoughts. But I'll say this about this year. I think for the most part, everybody's going to have pretty high expectations for this year. I think you can guarantee everybody's going to have pretty high expectations for this year. So that's my goal. Look forward to that in the month of July. I'm trying to put that together. Hopefully we can put that together and get these guys on here to talk some football. I need to figure out an exact date that I want to do it, and I also need to get responses from some people. But yeah, man, we did 3 hours strong, so we're gonna cut it off here. But this was late night Seminoles After Dark. So this is what we do, and we went player by player. July is supposed to be a big month, man. July is supposed to be a big month, and we got a lot of kids, a lot of young men, a lot of future stars trying to commit this month, excuse me. And we're gonna see. Florida State fans, or Florida State in general, the recruitment has cooled down pretty much since the spring. I think around the springtime we were pretty hot in the month of April, May. June was a very quiet month for Florida State. Not a lot happened for Florida State in terms of recruiting, but July looks like it might be the month. For August I will be gone the entire month of August. But anyway, June's going to be the month, is expected to be the month. That's what they're saying. June will be the month for the Seminoles. And I think we finished fairly strong in the month of June, man. So if you like what you heard here tonight, again, if this is your first time for whatever reason, just tuning in, you like what you saw, you like what you heard, you like that I interact with everybody in the chat, which is what I do all the time, interact with everybody, hit that subscribe button if you're new. Again, if you are a regular subscriber, regular follower of the channel, please hit the like button. That's one way that the channel will continue to grow, man. The more likes, the more we get in the algorithm, the more when somebody opens that YouTube app, they just see me and say, man, who is this ugly dude? Let me click on him and see what he's talking about. Hit the like button, and of course, share the videos. That's another great way to help build our channel, build our community. Because that's what this is, right? This is our channel, our community. This is the Florida State fans channel. Again, I don't sit here and just talk to you for 3 hours. This show would suck if I just sat here and talked to you for 3 hours. No, we talk for 3 hours. I engage for 3 hours. Everybody's points get addressed. Everybody's takes. Everybody gets a chance to share. Not only do they share what they feel, what they think, I read it. I let it know. I let it be known. I address it, because it's easy to put a bunch of comments in and no one ever looks at it and no one ever talks to y'all. I like to engage and actually have a conversation. So that's what we do over here, man. As always, man, though, it is your boy POLK over here on 863 Seminole TV. Please stay classy, Seminoles. Enjoy your 4th of July weekend. Stay safe. Do not blow your fingers off with fireworks. Do not blow your nuts off or anything like that. Do not kill anybody with fireworks. So don't drink and firework. Be safe. Have fun. Stay classy. We are out here. Go Noles. I will see y'all maybe tomorrow, maybe not. Might do a Saturday night. I don't know. Y'all have a good rest of y'all night.